Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunday SmackDown number 3. This will be Quicksearch Simulator. A fairly normal format this week, ordinary supremacy this will be, except players will whisper me their civilization of choice, so they will not know what their opponent is going to pick. They will basically be blind picking, and then we will green in on a random map, exactly like in Quicksearch. We're trying to simulate Quicksearch here. So normal supremacy with the SmackDown politician changes, but no wacky rules this week. Before we begin, I have some bad news. Basically, I was in a bit of a hurry to start this SmackDown today. Basically, I had to take my computer to the studio to borrow the internet at work. Since I've just moved in with a few other content creators here on YouTube, we're starting a new job together, and our house at home doesn't have internet yet. Because it takes a couple of weeks to set up when you move into a new property. I was hoping it would be ready for today. It should have been, but apparently not. So, what's wrong with all of this? Basically, I'm at work, which is fine, but what happened is I got the PC all set up, and for some reason, I'm not sure why, my game had no game sounds. I couldn't hear anything, and I spent 45 minutes trying to fix this, including reinstalling the game and everything you can think of. No success. There are no game sounds, or at least I couldn't hear any. So I decided, right, never mind. The players have been waiting for 45 minutes since I had to download the game, basically all again from Steam. And yeah, I thought, right, let's just start without game sounds and get on with it, and we'll fix it for next time. So we did this, but turns out the video capture software actually did record game sounds, which is good, although really weird, as I'm not really sure why I couldn't hear them, but it's also really bad, because the game sounds were much, much louder than me. And basically, I'm really quiet compared to everything else. It's hard to hear me, which is not ideal, especially during the big battles. I'm really sorry for this. It seems like every SmackDown we do, there is always something that goes horribly wrong, but hopefully, now that I've moved into my new place with everyone, the internet should definitely be ready for next SmackDown, and I'll have plenty of time to have the PC set up beforehand. I won't have to bring it to work, and everything should go smoothly. This one, though, you might have to struggle through. I am sorry, but without further ado, enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday SmackDown number 3. This one is the Quicksearch Simulator. Absolutely. You pick a civ, and then you press start match. Except we can't do that and be casting it at the same time. So instead, what the players are going to do, they're going to whisper me their civilization. Soldier is going to play French. Looks like Tit will be playing Spain. So let's type this in the chat. Soldier, French, Tit, Spain. Oh, baby.
You gotta be prepared for any situation because the maps are also random. So if you pick a civ like Germany, you've got to be prepared to potentially play it out on a map that doesn't have trading posts, that sort of thing. Potentially it could be lots of water, like you could end up on like a really water-heavy map like Baja California or something like that. So you gotta be prepared for anything. Sometimes certain civs will probably be a bit risky, and yeah, it'll be really cool to see how players adapt into the more random situations than you would otherwise get in a tournament where there's like a set map pool and stuff like that, and you're picking the civ specifically for the map. And here we go, a strange map right off the bat, Cascade Range.
Cascade Range, absolutely. This is a fairly low resource, fairly small map with a little bit of water. Normally, as you mentioned, in tournaments you prepare civilizations and you can anticipate what civilization your opponent's going to go for. Here it's a totally blind pick.
Are you ready? Yes.
All right, nice.
Had a couple of technical difficulties there, but we'll edit them out with the magic of video editing, and no one will be the wiser. Also, I'm going to zoom out in a moment, but first we'll introduce the players. Spawning on the top of the map in the color blue, we do indeed have Soldier playing as the French. That was his civilization of choice. Going to start with a market there. So it must have been a, what was it, 100 wood, 200 wood start. I suppose, yeah, often you'd go for a trading post, but I suppose on Cascade Range we don't have anything like that. A couple of coin treasures in base, going to make it nice and easy. Going to pick up 20 coin just there with the villager. His opponent spawning down on the south as Spain. Tit also going to be going for a market, but Spanish, I think, will be a little bit disappointed with this map since, of course, no trading posts, and that signature build of Spain is the fast fortress. Going to be a bit more difficult to pull that off. I think French are probably going to be more pleased with the map. But this is Quicksearch, and that is how it goes. You take that risk sometimes. A little bit of a conflict in the middle of the map here. Two explorers sort of standing off. With no big treasures. I don't anticipate that really being coming of anything. Looks like, though, Tit is going to get his war dog involved, but not for long. Soldier, quick on the ball, starts attacking the dog, which has its low HP. I suppose the war dog's not as useful on this map as other maps, since the treasures are just so small. But back to collecting now. That standoff has now ended. Gonna crack shot by the looks of it. A 40 wood treasure, one of the bigger treasures on this map. But yeah, fairly interesting. Go ahead. I'll zoom out.
Yeah, as you said, the war dog not super useful on this map compared to a map with, you know, larger treasures. Most of the time, you want to keep that war dog near your explorer, like not totally next to it, like maybe close enough that you're still getting extra vision from it, but also that you can help out if you run into a big treasure. But this time around, Tit's just been scouting with that war dog primarily, getting as much vision of different treasures and parts of the map as he can. So it's been a good use by him. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they choose to adapt into this map so far. Both players have gone for a market at the moment. Nothing too unusual just yet. Oh, actually lost the war dog to the cougar. That's unfortunate. But yeah, definitely probably a harder map for Spain, as you mentioned. Less resources and no trading post will make that fast fortress a little bit harder to get away with.
Yeah, we'll see what he tries to do instead. He's now going up to the next stage, all villagers switching over to wood right away here. So it doesn't look like he's going to be going for a fast fortress after all, since, of course, no trading posts. He wouldn't be building a trading post. But I wonder what he'll do with the wood. Perhaps we'll see some sort of early barracks. Or play against French that way. Oh, a forward villager. Yes, he's intending to do something aggressive here. I think Tit realizes that you can't just play the standard way. Going to do something different. And let's take a look at his age-up choice here. He's going up with the Philosopher Prince. So it has gotten, since this is still SmackDown patch after all, that is 100 food cheaper than on regular. So it's 700 food Philosopher Prince. So he's going to be able to age up to the next stage a bit sooner. And perhaps he can make something of it. We will see.
Yeah, Soldier's actually going for the same thing, too. He managed to age a villager early as a result of that. He's aging with a 13 villagers instead of 14. So he might be thinking of doing something aggressive as well. Actually, yeah, dropping a native trading post in the bottom of the map for those Nuka. So this is definitely an unusual situation here. We're going to end up with forward bases on opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going for this build because his opponent is Spain, and often they'll just go straight up to the Fortress Age like you'd expect them to. Nuka, obviously a clubman, sort of like a pikeman, high siege damage, that sort of unit. But 400 wood, he's not opted to go for that. He's going for the Philosopher Prince, which gives you 400 food now instead of 500, since, of course, it has had that cost reduction, as you're probably all aware. But electing not to go with the electing not to go with the Quartermaster, which is the usual politician for French, very strong here. Going to try something different. But I wonder, I think here, Soldier has now been seen. There's Clubman on the board, but Tit has noticed the trading post, so perhaps he won't be able to get away with it as, you know, that element of surprise not going to be there. Going to take two clubmen off to sort of snare here, making the villagers go inside. It looks like, though, the town center fire is being drawn away onto the explorer, so going to be okay. These Nuka managing to pull out the colonial militia here, pardon me, the Minutemen, you know what I mean. Now going to get back out of here. Does lose a couple there, but has managed to force Minutemen, so he's going to be pleased with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how this like sort of dual forward base thing is going to work out for Tit, because, you know, being really aggressive against France is a little bit harder, because CDB are a little bit resistant to especially musketeer fire. They have that 40% range resistance. They're very tanky. They do decent damage of their own. But at the same time, Nuka Clubmen are not the most versatile unit to be trying to rush with, and he doesn't have any other military buildings up on that side of the map, just the stable that he just finished at home. And there are now Rotoleros out, there's War Dogs out, and Minutemen. It's going to be pretty difficult for Soldier to actually get anything done here. So actually, this is looking pretty good for Spain at the moment.
Yeah. Behind this, though, Soldier, he has sent 4 villagers. His next shipment will be coming in, so he's got that eco potential. He's not committed to a full-in sort of nuka rush. There is some option to continue the game. But, yeah, Spain, he's gotten away with... Well, he's not gone to the Fortress Age, so, you know, he's not dead. This nuka rush would have been potentially very, very effective against that. The forward base, it's not being as useful as it anticipated since, you know, there was nuka in his base, but it doesn't matter because he's able to march the units back across the map from the barracks home and defend the rush. Here he's got a good army. Rods have come out as a shipment. Musketeers in queue as well. Has trained some war dogs to try and get rid of the extra resources, and he's going to be able to kill this trading post here. But at the moment, France does have the stronger economy. 7 villages up when you look at the recalculated economic unit population. Of course, Spain can send something like 5 villages and sort of even that up very quickly. But at the moment, although Spain has taken the map and has shut down this trading post, he is behind in economy, so to speak, and looks like he's going to continue to be so. He's sending 8 pikemen here. It looks like, though, he's able to keep, you know, 8 pikemen might well be the right choice. He's managed to catch these 3 hussars. He's chasing them around the map. Perhaps he can maybe, if he's, I wonder if he has any hussars in queue. Maybe they could pop out of the stable. Looks like there's 1 rod coming in, really nice there. Pikes coming from the top there. If he can catch these 3 hussars, he's gonna have a huge advantage in terms of military unit population, and his villager deficit won't really matter. He'll have so many units that perhaps he can walk across the map and shut down whatever soldier's doing. Looks like all 3 of these cavalry are going to go down, so Tits does manage to pick that up, and as a result is very far ahead in terms of military.
Yeah, actually one hussar going to escape. Super low HP though, not going to be super relevant. But yeah, this is definitely looking awkward for the French player at the moment. Economic unit population is in his favor, so that is still good for him. There is another shipment on the way for Tit, though, that could be closing relatively quickly if that happens to be a 5-villager shipment. We'll have to see. Native Scout gonna spot the approaching army, get picked off pretty easily, but does alert Soldier to the fact that this army is on the way and its composition. 10 musketeers on the field for France.
Yeah, versus his opponent's roughly similar musketeer count, if you include the Minutemen as well, and pikemen, war dogs. That's all he's got here. Let's take a look at units in queue and see. He's got musketeers, so France has that working. No hussars, though, so thankfully this stable that's being sieged isn't going to result in missing a batch of units or something like that. Looks like musketeers now trying to get into position. I wonder if the villagers will march in there as well. Looks like there's some hussars and Rodelleros on the CDBs on the back there whilst this fight is happening. They are away from the main army, so this is going to even it up for Spain. 8 crossbowmen coming out.
Crossbow.
When I say even up for
yeah,
Spain, I meant France.
he has potential to call Minutemen as well, but yeah, this raid in the back of the base is really going to be hurting his economy the longer this fight goes. He's sending some musketeers back to scare them away now, but he lost like 4 or 5 CDBs there. But yeah, he does manage to hold in the end, and off the back of that, actually, there's not much of a follow-up for Spain, sorry, it looks like. He's got some hussars coming, but he's only got 1 barracks up, and it's pretty exposed at the moment. And it looks like it'll likely go down.
Yeah, it looks like France has more ranged units there, so by this barracks is going to be able to take it out and stop them. But looks like Tit, the raiding party from earlier, has found more CDBs. Thankfully, there's 8 muskets nearby. They can come in and scare the units away. That doesn't end up losing any villagers. Greatcoats coming in strong there, does have that research. Looks like, though, units going to need the hussars do find the French ranged military. Looks like musketeers going into hand combat the other side, but not quite in position enough, and the red unit's going to be able to get away, not before taking a few casualties. Looks like with all said and done, it's very even economic unit populations now, so both players fairly even here. I think France is... well, it's a very even game. I think, well, clearly France is behind on shipments, but that is because Spain sends them more quickly, and as a result of that, I think he's gotten in a... Look, is he saving to age? No, he did have a 700 coin and 700... I'll just stop talking.
Yeah, no, it looks like he's just going to be using those for military units. I don't think he has enough time to age, really. It takes... Actually, did we change that? We didn't change for just politicians yet. So yeah, it still takes a very long time for him to get up to Fortress.
We did. Don't mention port.
I'm sorry. Top secret information. Yeah.
Barracks.
But yeah, I mean, right now all Tit's trying to do is he's trying to buy time. Look, with these military units being split all up on the map, trying to deal with as much of these, as much as the economic gap as possible. Buy time, force Soldier to run around to defend those villagers. But Soldier actually going for a counter push of his own. This is one of the best ways to deal with this kind of pressure, is just to apply pressure yourself. And when the smoke clears, both units are going to be hurting on economy, but Soldier will be left standing with the superior military.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of villages are going down for both players, so it's just becoming clear as the larger military is going to be more and more favoured, and that becomes less and less relevant.
Yeah, he's still very close economically, but with Soldier now idling the villagers in the town center, and with the superior military composition, it's looking pretty good for him at the moment. 600 coin coming in for Tit will help him spend a lot of that food, as those resources will complement his unit production a little bit. Yeah, what does Spain really do from here, I guess? He's still got units in the middle of the map. There might be an engagement coming up.
Might be. Looks like though Spain's got a lot of hussars mixed in there, which will be overly effective against the musketeers. Having said that though, they are quite spongy and they're taking all of the range damage here, though there are a few musketeers in range. Oh, looks like more musketeers joining from the back here. This, I think, is a very French-favoured fight. And
well, actually, you say that, but he didn't put any of his muskets in melee against those hussars, and he's actually managed to clean up all of the muskets on that side there. There's still a big mass of muskets left for France, but that was actually surprisingly good for Spain from what looked like a pretty good position for Soldier to start with.
yeah, he absolutely cleaned up there. I thought France was winning, but I'm clearly very wrong indeed. And now he finds himself 10 military unit population ahead, and he's got a good map. The villages are protected up here. The units are nearby. Looks like the Blue Musketeers walking towards him. So they are going to fight. This is quite a close-up and personal, in-your-face sort of fight here.
Yeah, the bayonet charge.
Yeah. A couple of war dogs mixed in there as well. I think, though, Spain is just going to edge that one. However, there are a couple of hussars, lots of red hussars here, and France is going to get cleaned up. Spain going to be very pleased with that.
Yeah, and now with yeah, now the smoke is cleared. The economic population is still dead even, and the military population has shifted in favor of Spain. So definitely unexpected. Soldier's only on berries at the moment too. He's not even gathering gold or anything. So this is pretty awkward. However, you gotta remember, if he does choose to push out onto the map for resources, CDB will be pretty effective at fighting. Compared to villagers, so we could be in for a scrappy finish. I know Soldier likes to go for the CDB fights. It is something he's definitely comfortable with doing if he feels it's necessary. And with the army marching in here, we could potentially see it.
Yeah, they're going to clear up a couple of houses first, though, that have been placed out here. Sites, hussars from red are coming into raid, but going to be deflected by blue, who has his army in position on top of his villagers who are gathering hunts. Looks like this berry gathering is most likely out of... It doesn't want to go too far out on the map for hunts. It's just safer to stay in base on this resource here. So is, a good decision from Soldier. He can see so Soldier can see exactly what Tit has here, so he doesn't have to be too afraid. He knows exactly where the army is. He can leave his villagers open for a bit. Now coming in with units to sort of try and deflect them off the house. Just keep that alive for as long as possible, picking off a few units as they walk back. So getting some good good shots in there, doing well. And actually exactly even. Both players very, very even here, except as you mentioned, France does have the CDB and he has got the upgrade in. Also got economic theory in here, so perhaps he's actually slightly ahead in terms of economy and has more potential to push out on the map as a result of lots of HP. Can combine that with his army and can clean up those remaining hunts. Maybe that's something on his mind. Mind you, there's not really a lot of hunts left. I'm looking around and all I can see, the only patches are berry bushes, except this one over here, Maito. I think that is the only hunt left on the map in full, a full herd.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the case. Yeah, it's starting to look good for France again, just because of the economic theory. And he does actually have, it's important to note, he does actually have some CDB upgrades in his deck. He has Pioneers and Wilderness Warfare, so if this game continues in Colonial for a while longer and they do end up having to fight with those villagers, it will be very good for Soldier if he manages to get those upgrades in. He's still got a few shipments left before he really considers sending that. type of thing, but it definitely could give him the edge in a fight, as CDB are pretty good against musketeers, and musketeers are going to be the backbone for both players' armies.
Yeah, although neither player has like musketeer upgrades in terms of cards, so that's something to point out. But so it's not like one player can send it and the other can't, which would totally tip the balance. Coming in there for a cheeky raid, but the villagers they see that and get back. Sticking close to the CDBs on top of this berries and just pushing forward. Yes, Pioneers coming in from Soldier. Not going to be playing this out in the Fortress Age. This is going to be a scrappy colonial game where it comes down to just sitting on top of resources and trying to control the map best you can. Trying to scout out more available resources, you know, see if his opponent is on this mine over here, if he's on the hunts, although he's not going to find anything. These are completely barren, but looking around with these hussars, maybe he'll station them there just in case villagers try and come in. Does pick up 2 kills here, 2 villager kills, so going to put him slightly ahead economically, and he's going to even out the house game, finds a house to kill as well. As I was saying though, neither player can send a musk upgrade and just completely swing the game, but they can send other upgrades. It looks like though Tit has sent Hussar HP, so these cavalry are going to have a little bit of extra HP. It's not too many units, but still an effective and useful upgrade, and if he can get up against his opponent, he's going to be very strong against, you know, CDBs and that kind of thing, especially if a soldier doesn't put his musketeers in hand combat.
Yeah, definitely. And you can just see his soldiers just like bringing his villagers with him everywhere he goes. Just going to be using them to help secure the resources with his military in tandem. And with the musketeers coming here, this could be a big fight. I imagine he'll be pulling the CDB into the fight pretty soon. Here they come, and seeing that Tit's going to be backing off, he doesn't want to be fighting those.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be anywhere near that, since the CDBs just supply so much extra HP, and they've got a pretty good ranged attack as well. 11 there. Hand cavalry combat coming in. So there's no musk upgrades, Maito. They can't be upgrading those, but what do you think of these cavalry upgrades?
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. He doesn't really have much of a choice. He has to
Let's take a look at his
something.
deck here. Is it just that there's nothing else to send, and it's just those are the only things that are useful? I guess Eco Theory's in there, but maybe he's thinking, you know, villagers don't matter. It's going to be, the resources are running out, and
exactly.
Who cares about, you know, extra gather rates? Let's just get as much stats as I can on the board, and as long as I can control the resources, it doesn't actually really matter how efficient my villagers are. And that's, would you agree with that assessment? Do you think that's what he's decided to do?
Yeah, I think so. Like, the game is kind of balanced on a knife's edge right now. There's going to be one big deciding fight for sure at some point. And I think at the moment it's definitely in favor of Soldier. He's just sitting on these resources in the middle map with the CDB. He can pretty much control any location he wants to with these CDB. Going to be bringing them forward now to this forward gold mine and berries. And just deny that from Spain, and 5 villagers going down is going to be big. So Spain kind of has to fight here probably if he wants to like have a chance of winning this game still. But it's looking very, very difficult for sure.
Yeah.
Like the CDC, he sees all the CDB with the army. He knows like I can't really stand and fight this.
360 HP on those vills. This is like a perfect map for Pioneers, and France is just so much power because of that card. He can try and just keep kiting backwards and try and keep the army and the villagers interested, but not actually able to fully engage. That way the villagers will just be walking around and not actually gathering. Soldier realizes that, now going to get back to work here. So I think the best Tit can do is sort of try and inflict damage where those villagers aren't. He's found a couple of, stray ones on the gold mine and a couple on the berries up here. Looks like he might be able to kill a few there. But remember, they've got 360 HP. They're not very easy to raid. And whilst the army is away from home, Soldier's just going to march into the base here and maybe clean up all these houses. He knows his opponent's army is on the other side of the map there, and he can get away with something like this. He's just, getting into position to siege down these houses. As a result, Tit, he realizes this, going to bring back his musketeer army. So he split off the cavalry. Those are faster moving units. Perhaps they can go alone and find some things to kill here. I think what's Tit doing? I see. Blue is not in the base anymore, so now he can leave and doesn't have to. I think Tit's actually getting in. He's killed a couple of villagers, and he's achieving what he needs to. And Soldier, he's not able to stay in his opponent's base. He wants to move his army out. Looks like we've got more raids down here, although this is from Soldier this time. Still a very even game. France is ahead economically, so as you mentioned, Spain does need to make something happen. But can he do it versus all these vills that are basically unkillable?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be challenging. But he's doing what he needs to do. He's just buying time, making sure his villagers can still gather resources as much as possible. Ooh, dropping a saloon now, actually.
I like
what do you
this.
have in the saloon here?
Just
yeah, I mean, he's
Renegados.
only got gold left, right? Renegados? That's actually really, really good here.
I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah, we've got Outlaw Pistolero and the Renegado, which is essentially a skirmisher. And now that there's no food on the map, his coin is, still something you can gather. He's got all the upgrades for it. Well, he's got placer mines, which means it's not totally inefficient. And that's going to be really strong, right? You've now got a unit that you can train that costs the resources you have access to, and it also is a counter to Musketeers, which is mainly what it's exclusively what Soldier is training. He's just got pure Musks on the board at the moment here, with a few Cav sort of running around the map, but that's not the bulk of his army. Renegados usually not very good, simply because they just take up so much population, but I think at the moment this is a point in the game where they can be really quite useful.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really good answer to these Musketeers. Only getting out 2 in the first batch, unfortunately, doesn't have enough population to get out more at the moment. But yeah, definitely going to be good.
Let's take a look at the stats. 40 range damage times 2 versus heavy infantry such as Musketeers. 110 HP. So they're quite low on HP, and they don't have a very fast rate of fire, but they are quite effective at what they do, as long as they don't get sniped down, which I imagine Soldier, as soon as he sees them, that's what he'll be trying to do. A little bit of a trade there. I think Soldier comes out on top. Does have the larger military mass there. If we see more Renegados, though, this could switch to Tit, and he might be in favor, though. Having said that, Musketeers, cavalry in the red base here next to the saloon. Looks like Red going to respond with cavalry of his own. Both players on top of moving units around here, and 2 more Renegados coming out. Thankfully, they didn't train just as the Hussars arrived. That would have been not so good. I think Tit has managed to capture Soldier's Hussars here, and will be able to take them down, except Soldier does have his Musketeers nearby, so is able to respond to that. And we'll save his Musketeers here. Looks like Tit on the way home as well with his mass. The longer this game goes, the more it favours France, simply because he has more villagers. Actually, it's sort of evened up. I suppose he sent 4 villagers as a shipment, so that's going to even things up a bit there. Ultimately, though, it's still about controlling the resources. Fight might be about to break out, though.
Yeah, looks like Soldier's interested in fighting this before the Renegado mass gets too big. CDB are now coming in, and Renegados don't do great against CDB, though they do great against the Musketeers, and that's going to be forcing Tit to retreat. But while he is retreating, Soldier is not going to be training any additional units. So if he can manage to kite back far enough, he could potentially still be in this game. But at the moment, it's looking very, very good for Soldier.
Yeah, although these villagers are not gathering, but does it matter? They are supplying extra damage. They're making it impossible for Tit to really fight back here. He's got his town centre. He can put some villagers in there, but I don't know if it's enough. The villagers just supply so much soaking potential, and also a little bit of extra damage themselves. The Renegados, however, they're all still alive, and he's managed to mass up quite a few. So this could be enough to keep the Musketeers at bay. It looks like Soldiers managed to find some villagers, though, so even making it even more. Oh god, maybe at this point Tit just needs to use his villagers at this point, because there's no resources left.
That's based. I think regardless of whether he wants to do that or not, that's going to be what's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is definitely going to be the game-deciding fight. Tit has to fight here. He has to somehow pull out a win if he wants to, because otherwise he's not going to have an economy behind this. But yeah, it's looking really good for France. I think Soldier is probably going to be clinching the first victory in this series. But Renegado do it, still adding in a lot of extra damage against these Musketeers. Yeah, but just looking at the villager population.
Yeah, he has to win this fight, and then
like you might as well. Yeah, you can literally just take the military population, subtract it by like 5 for Tit because Renegados cost so much, and then add all of the villager population to Soldier's military population, and it's like still pretty good for him.
I think, though, at this point, Soldier realizes he's killed so many villagers and that he has to be really far ahead economically. So why bother? Why even go into the base and risk it at this point? Why not just step back, which is what he's doing, find a place for the villagers to work, maybe make that mill/plantation switch, and, you know, you're so far ahead on villagers, you can just get that resource income rolling and just get further and further ahead, and there's no risks involved. All on Tit here to make the fight happen. Soldier, looks like that is exactly what he's going to do, make a fight happen. I think Soldier doesn't want to fight it. Look how many Renegados there are. This is a really good composition for Tit now versus the Musketeers, but as I mentioned, he looks like Soldier is doing what he needs to do, just going to get back. However, there is a bit of a raid, sort of evening it up. Perhaps we can get him. Yeah, he's going to start gathering from these berries. I think Soldier will be able to add in some hussars. Does he have a stable? I imagine there is one somewhere. Yeah, he's got his stable in base. Fairly low HP stable and 600 wood on the floor, but should be fine.
Yeah, for sure. 600 wood coming in for Soldier. I would really, really like to see him add in the Nootka settlement just to get that Nootka bark clothing upgrade. Another 50% HP for those CDB.
50. Good God.
It's basically another Pioneer upgrade. Unfortunately, I don't think he's aware that it exists, or maybe he doesn't feel he can expend the resources on it at the moment. But that would be really funny. But here we go. Renegado's getting onto the CDB. Soldier's just going to be fighting that. Look how much they tank. Only one going down after all of that. And just going to be killing a couple units in exchange for that. So it's still a pretty good trade for Soldier overall. Yeah. Renegado's going to be coming back in. Setup animation is so unfortunate. Not even getting a full volley off there.
Yeah. But they are able to push these gathering at any point. So I think as Soldier is quite pleased to be fighting with his villagers whenever he can. And then...
Yeah, he's definitely okay with it, seeing how heavily he's invested in that. And that was a very, very tense first game.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made that better is if I was casting not like a moron at the start of the game. There's so many things that have gone wrong here. So for people that are wondering, I've actually lugged my PC into the car, taken it to the studio. Yes, I'm at the studio right now. I'm at work. It's really weird to be saying that, but basically, I'm in the office because our home internet, the internet at home, hasn't come on. We've just moved house, so we're waiting for the internet to turn on. So instead I have to be at work here, and I brought my PC to work, and the game sounds weren't working, so basically I couldn't hear anything. I just reinstalled the game, and now as a result of that, I've lost all my settings, basically. I'm gonna have to put them back in.
But yeah, it's been a nightmare to get the series going, but now that it has been going, it's looking like it should be pretty exciting.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this time I've got all the settings I would usually have. Because it was a fresh install, everything was wiped, and I think every single SmackDown we've done so far, there's been some weird issue. I cannot wait until I'm fully set up, and we can do this week on week, and we don't have to do all of these weird things, and the sound is fine, and Maito's at home, and I have my game installed correctly. But yes, this is game number 2. Tit will be playing as the British. Soldier will be playing as the Sioux.
Yes.
I've now put that in the chat so that they can see. This will be game number 2. The score is currently 1-0 to Soldier. So a bit of a more normal SmackDown. What we want to do is, every now and again, we're going to have a bit of a weird SmackDown. We're going to introduce some crazy rules. The next week, we will have, or next time I should say, ideally every week and hopefully next week, but sometimes circumstances don't permit. But the next one will be every shipment that you send will have its effect twice. So 700 wood, for example, will send 1400 wood. 5 Cossacks will send 10 Cossacks. But I quite like the idea of being able to send twice as many Mamluks for the same coin cost. So we'll see what players do. But this week, it's just going to be ordinary supremacy, except with a Quicksearch twist. That sounds like one hell of a cocktail. Quicksearch. I'll have a Quicksearch twist, please. bartender. But yes, basically players whisper me their civilizations, and then we lock them in. They are basically blind picking, and then we launch into a random ESOC map. So basically simulating Quicksearch, which is different from tournament games. This is going to be more of the real game, at least for a lot of players who do play through Quicksearch. For example, Soldier, who is on the other side of the map. Here we're looking at Tit, so let's introduce him. Playing as the British, this was his blind civ pick of choice. Spawning in on, what is the name of this map? I have forgotten. But
Adirondacks.
Adirondacks. Yes, that one. But British going to be going for an early market. This is something perhaps a little bit unusual. We usually see manor houses from British with the wood, but he does have 100 coin. It was a coin start, so perhaps he can gather that up and buy wood with it, so it does sort of make sense there. I'm not quite sure what treasures he saw. Perhaps there was something that influenced his decision there. 50 coin, that's usually useful for going for a market. But Soldier, who I was talking about here, wow, has managed to find himself 2 outlaw riflemen, and this guy, Sebastian Weddell, is going to get absolutely shattered by the looks of it here. Oh no, not 2 outlaw riflemen, just the one, because the other is a Cherokee rifle. I didn't notice that. But Soldier, nice micro. They're keeping the explorer, pardon me, the rifleman away from the explorer who can crack shot it. Of course, the Cherokee is just a native unit. It cannot be crack shotted since it is not a treasure guardian. So Soldier going to keep close eye on that unit. Doesn't want it to be dark. Yes, you can see him trying. Tit really wants to crack shot it, and every time Soldier gets close and his opponent tries to crack shot, he's not actually fighting back. He's doing the crack shot animation. So in a way, providing Soldier's very careful and doesn't actually let the animation finish, he's getting extra, basically free damage in there as his opponent won't be fighting back. But Tit, I think, has decided, screw this, I'm just going to run home. Thankfully, the War Chief doesn't snare, I believe, so he's able to get home, trying to take a few cheeky shots, but just close enough, but fairly near his base, so should be able to pick that up. But Soldier is going to claim 45 XP and deny British the ability to scout, and really making good use of the nature friendship ability here. He's going to pick up another outlaw rifle, a really powerful guardian, and then pick up 95 really good treasure there.
Always very frustrating when that happens when you're playing against Sioux. They are the strongest civilization in Age 1 for a reason, and yeah, part of the reason that works too is because of that extra speed aura that you get from the War Chief. That Renegado can retreat even more quickly than other War Chief civs. So it just happens to all work out very nicely for Sioux. But there is a forward villager sneaking across the map for Tit, so
yeah, he's going to go up the governor though, which is a politician.
Could just be looking for a hunt.
Yeah, could be. He's going to slam. Oh yeah, I imagine that is absolutely true. Actually, he didn't build at all. Part build, what I mean, he didn't scout. He didn't manage to get any much scouting done because the explorer just got destroyed so quickly. So I imagine this Vil coming out to try and find his hunt and bring it home. Instead, just going to pop down a manor house here, and that's still a fairly good mid-map manor house. It's going to provide some line of sight there. Another villager popping out, and now they're going to head, no doubt, down to this hunt on the bottom of the map there. Looks like another villager going out blindly into the wilderness. So absolutely the case, but he's going to be going up with the governor, not a politician we changed. So as usual, an outpost and 200 coin. His opponent, however, Soldier, is aging up with the Shaman, which we did change. The Shaman now gives you an extra shipment. So Sioux, as soon as he hits the next age, will jump from 1 shipment to 2 shipments. And it's going to take a while to pay off. We've gone over this before. But, you know, this 1 shipment he has already got available. He has to send that, right, before he can send the one he gets for free. So a bit of a slower build. But let's see what he has in mind. Because he did have a really, really strong Age 1. Has picked up some insane treasures and gotten a really nice Age 1 unit mass from just collecting the Treasure Guardians.
Yeah, well, actually, I guess this makes a lot of sense for Sioux, right? Because Sioux doesn't need houses, so you don't really need a lot of resources upon age up to really do anything. You can't always do anything with that 400 wood necessarily. So instead, he's just chopped 200 wood already for, I guess, something. I don't see military building or anything anywhere, but I swear he had 200 wood in the bank a moment ago.
Maybe he spent it on teepees or something like that. But either way, looks like
he's already up. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I was looking at Tit's resources instead. But either way, yeah, it's still probably gonna be pretty good for him because he doesn't need those houses. And 4 Axe Rider is going to be coming in first. I wonder if he's just doing some kind of weird, like, semi-FF with this extra shipment.
Yeah, he's saving to age by the looks of it. He's got nearly all the food that he needs, mostly villagers on coin here. So it looks like, I think he wants to skip the 700 coin shipment and just go straight to the next stage purely from gathering. So let's take a look at shipments sent and see what he's decided to go with. Looks like 4 Axe Riders. I think you've already mentioned that. I'm sorry if you did, but yeah, he's just going to go for a fast fortress, collect the resources only, and instead of sending 700 coin to get to the next stage, can send Axe Riders and just be aggressive on the map, just try and get some raids in. And, you know, he got that really nice age 1 sort of, yeah, he's got a couple of outlaws there, a Cherokee guy, so basically can take on those early musketeers. At this point, though, Tit has gotten a second batch of musketeers out, so at this point, I think he's not going to be able to get in there too badly to kill villagers. And Tit responding very nicely. This map, a little bit, you know, of terrain that you can abuse. You can lock the side of the map off here. He's done that with a wall, meaning there's less ground for his musketeers to cover. Nice job of herding, although he didn't manage to see very many herds early on. Has managed to get the ones he did see back to his base, and I think those 4 Axe Riders not going to achieve too much here, but either way, Soldier's done what he wanted to achieve, which was get up to the next stage and basically skip a shipment and have 4 Axe Riders for free, and that's what he's done.
Yeah, 700 wood coming in now. Going to be allowing to get up that trading post, get up his military buildings, all that infrastructure that he's currently missing will be available to him now. And yeah, that shipment has basically allowed him to do like a 3-card semi-FF without really even having a trading post up, so it's definitely looking pretty comfortable for him. However, he doesn't have another shipment ready just yet, and he will be a little bit slow on the fortress here.
Yeah, villager does go down.
It looks
there,
like
so Axe Riders are definitely providing some value, but you're absolutely right. Sioux, even if they do get a free shipment, they still have a pretty terrible XP curve, since you're not building houses or anything like that. He didn't train any military units, so yes, he's in the fortress age, but hasn't got his shipment available yet. The corral and war hut now going down, and that should supply some XP, and we'll be able to get a shipment in queue. Well, let's take a look at units in queue and see what he elects to train. Wakina rifles now in queue. British, on the other hand, has now just sent 700 coin as well, and has the majority of his villagers on food. So I imagine here, since he's not got any units in queue, will be aiming to get up to the next stage here. How many musks did he train? Looks like he's got sort of 15 musks there, 17 military unit population. So those 4 Axe Riders, they did a good job. They've made Tit train quite a few units here, and they're sort of idle. They're not really doing a whole lot.
Yeah, it looked like when Soldier did age up, they were walking towards the base, but then they got diverted. There was that raid on the top side of the map. The Musketeers decided to continue defending rather than push, so they've definitely done their job, those Axe Riders have. They've just kept the units at home, made sure Tit doesn't really know what's going on, and you gotta remember, he still only has, like, his little corner of the map scouted. He hasn't scouted anything else just yet. So he really has no idea where Soldier could be gathering. He has no idea what like kind of build order Soldier might have been going for.
Yeah.
He's completely in the dark.
Yeah, he's probably wondering where the 4 Axe Riders are clearly a shipment. So, but he doesn't. You know, I think players not quite used to the new politicians yet. Will be wondering, because often you wouldn't expect someone to do sort of send 4 Axe Riders and then go straight up to the Fortress Age. Although this does seem to be a good strategy for the Sioux. This is a good moment for Sioux, right? He's got his mass out. He's got his first shipment. He's got a couple of batches of rifle riders there and a batch of Wakina Prowlers as Wakina Prowlers. Pardon me, Wakina rifles. If he pushes in now, whilst Tit is aging, this could be quite effective, especially against musketeers without really any complementing units, since, of course, Wakina and Rifle Rider are very good against heavy infantry.
He's being a little hesitant at the moment. I'm not sure exactly what he's waiting for. Maybe waiting for that extra 5 Rifle Riders he just trained. And, yeah, now he's gonna be going in. He's been spotted by the houses. Earlier, when he was trying to fight that explorer, he was trying to keep those Rifle Riders hidden. Didn't want Tit to know about that, but now upon being spotted, I think he's all right with being a little bit more active with these units. But that wall will make them perhaps not as effective as he'd like them to be.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get inside there. However, the villagers do have to keep going outside to hunt, which is a bit of a faff. Maybe he can herd them back inside. But either way, those villagers safe, and has deflected the rifle riders, the cavalry in general, I suppose. Is now up to the fortress age safely, going up with 7 longbows, so going to get a nice little bonus there, going to be quite helpful against the units that the Sioux has gotten. But I think Soldier, now that he's up to the fortress age, I imagine will be researching the veterancy tech. Yes, there it is, going to get veteran musks in, and he's going to get, upgrade his units and feel pretty good about his position. He's gotten up safely to the fortress age and now can sort of push forward. Sioux, on the other hand, if we take a look at the economic unit population, a little bit further behind than the British, but the TPs perhaps in base will be supplying a little bit of a sort of compensating for that a little bit. But of course, British manor houses, it's hard to keep up with the British. And I think Soldier, just the longer this game goes, the better for him now. Sioux needs to sort of make something happen, and I think with 3 dog soldiers as his last shipment there, this is now the time to do it.
Just a quick note before we get into a fight on that on the economic population. Sioux, as long as they continue trading units and they haven't fought at all yet, you got to remember that they kind of have a few extra villagers for free on wood because they don't need houses, right?
That is true.
So the more his population increases, the more sort of free resources he's getting. So the economy is probably roughly equal at the moment, and but of course, as the game goes on, that villager lead is going to be a little bit more useful for Tit, especially as they start trading units and start fighting. That economic bonus that Sioux gets is not going to be quite as powerful.
That's true. And also, the longer Sioux is alive, right? He's got very fast-moving cavalry and has that potential to get raids in as well. So that combined with the housing bonus that you mentioned, they don't have to make houses, definitely still in the game here, and has managed to find himself, by the looks of it, 5 villagers. They're going to quickly get gobbled up. The blue cavalry mass has managed to find them. This is exactly what I was just talking about. Has managed to get a successful raid in down there. But Red, look at the size of his army here. Got veteran cavalry in as well. I doubt he'll be upgrading the longbowmen. Actually, having said that, there they are now. Veteran longbowmen just coming in. So, big, powerful army here with the upgrades to boot. Yes, he managed to kill, some villagers. It looks like it's now completely even in terms of villager population.
Yeah. Definitely looking good for Soldier off the back of that.
Tit also running out in base. He's only got a few hunts left, and then he's going to have to push out onto the map, which shouldn't be too much of an issue with this big army, but it does reduce the mobility of the army, perhaps, because wherever those villagers are, the army has to be too in order to defend them. So yes, has no food left in base. This is where the game starts to get a bit dicey and scrappy as players sort of fight over the map, and British is not able to stay in his base anymore. But Sioux very reluctant to take any fights at this point. He's sort of just running around the map, raiding like he should be, and keeping the British on his toes.
Yeah, he's got a card on the way. I wonder if it's maybe Cav Combat or something like that. Could be waiting for that upgrade before he really commits. He's got to be a little bit careful with how long he waits, as this army composition for Tit, he's starting to diversify it a little bit with longbows and dragoons. And Musk Huss at the moment is very, very good for, very, very good for Soldier at the moment, just because he has so many rifle riders. Sucks that those vills are going to die, but he's going to be going with a counter raid of his own, going to be finding these villagers on the gold mine potentially. Does he have a fire pit? He doesn't have a fire pit yet. If he had a fire pit, he could potentially just siege down the town center if he really wanted to. For siege dance. However, there might be an engagement. No, not going to commit to that just yet.
No, not just yet. But Soldier doing exactly what he needs to, chasing villagers around the map. Yes, he lost a few villagers, but mostly he's winning the raiding game, so to speak. Kiting back here, trying to stay out of range of the longbowmen and punishing those hussars that sort of got a bit too ahead of themselves, and now has sped away with his... My camera's finding it tough to keep up with these cavalry. They move almost as fast as the camera scroll does, which is quite fast. So, yeah, the Sioux War Chief bonus to speed, quite effective here. What's going on in the middle middle of the map then. So British is sort of locked down near this middle trading post. He's got a bunch of villagers on hunt here. He's building a manor. There's a coin mine nearby, but he can't really sort of leave this area. And if he does, and Tit sees him leaving, then you know what's going to happen. The raiding is going to happen. Also, to the north has a couple of houses up here, and he's gathering food. They're very exposed. If Soldier looks up there and sees that they're gathering, he's just going to go and kill them right away. But he has sort of expanded his position. He's gathering. Perhaps this is somewhere he also wants to be to gather food. He's got a couple of villagers up there to do so. Axe Riders coming in to look for some raids. They're not going to find any here, but the next place they're going to go, I wonder, definitely going to be over here. Looks like, though, he realizes this, and Tit is going to split off a few dragoons to protect those villagers in the north. So keeping a good close eye on what's going on there. Looks like Tit sort of moving further forward. Perhaps he wants to perhaps claim this hunt in just below where these military units are. But British really locked down and doesn't have a lot of mobility, simply because he has to be very, reactive to the raids and has to play dynamically too. Ooh, the dragoons! No, God! He's now been engaged. Oh, I think they're toast. This is awful for Tit. He's gonna be kicking himself. That's an amateur mistake there, losing the dragoons to their counter.
Yeah, definitely very difficult to outrun those units, but he's going for a counter push on the other side, going to be forcing those units to retreat. Doesn't save any of the dragoons, unfortunately, but he will get get a bit of idle time at least. But gonna get caught probably because these units are so fast.
Yeah, it's not actually the fact that.
Dog Soldier big button, and Peanut popping out in the back too.
Oh wow, this is a big power spike here. Looks like though red cavalry line going down pretty quickly. Then once they're gone, musketeers now going into hand combat to try and get one of those axe riders. Look like the rifle riders not really getting punished at all. They're very weak to the longbowmen. Looks like Soldier trying to reposition the longbowmen now to deal with those rifle riders here, but now no red cavalry available, and the axe riders are just going to flood around the longbowmen, and that is going to be it. Tit does press the GG, and the score is now 2-0. XD, what kind of huge noob I am. In his defense, though, when I said this was an amateur mistake, losing the dragoons, I do forget about the speed bonus, and it makes it a lot easier to lose units like that. But Soldier is going to take this game, and that will be game number 2. Looking at the all resources gathered here, British ahead all game long, but doesn't really matter when you can run around as the Sioux. You've got that housing bonus like Maito mentioned, raiding of course, and then in this final fight here was able to pop a batch of units from the buildings and of course combine it with the Dog Soldier big button for this winning effect. But that will be it for this game. Let's head on out into the next one.
Yeah, that was just very patient play from Soldier 2 all game long. I kept expecting him to fight. I was a little bit worried too towards the end that his hesitancy to fight was going to cost him, because that the British army was getting a little bit scary, and he was starting to get a decent mass of dragoons up, which kind of countered Soldier's entire unit composition. But no, played it pretty soundly. Kept Tit locked down on top of those resources and managed to punish the dragoons when they stepped out of position. And yeah, just really clean, sort of methodical play from Soldier.
Looking good. Tit has whispered me his civilization, ladies and gentlemen. Tit will be playing India. Soldier will be playing Germany. Alright then. India versus Germany. The score is currently 2-0 to I Am Soldier. We'll be spawning in on a random map as per Quicksearch. Soldier just whispering me there and saying he thinks he's messed up because he picked...
oh my god, Cascade Range.
Oh wow, okay, this will be fun. Soldier picked Germany in the game room and then whispered me Germany. So I think Tit saw that he switched to Germany and then selected India.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
and pretty much the best map for India in this matchup too, it looks like.
Oh, that's Soldier gonna be pretty sad, but he is 2 points up. And maybe it's better this way. Maybe it's better that India just gets the good map and be done with it. And we'll see. Maybe Soldier can pick up the victory here. Spawning on the bottom of the map in the colour blue, we do indeed have I Am Soldier picking himself up 50 food right away. Going to be crack shot. No, sunflowers. These sunflowers, however, Maito, are worth 50 food, whereas the sunflowers we're used to are worth 140, or perhaps actually now 130. I think they are slightly.
It is indeed 130 at the moment, but yeah.
changed back down or nerfed a little bit on Esoc patch. It is quite a strong treasure. But yeah, different sunflowers. And I just want to point out it's still sunflowers, not sunflower seeds. They're eating the sunflowers, or maybe they've found sunflowers and can grow them and they're worth food. I don't know. This is not the point. But starting with a market here, Germany going to be building that market down. Looks like it was a 200 wood start, and it's going to be getting the hunting dog. Shouldn't be a problem to find some coin treasures on the map there. No villagers on coin currently, and that's because Soldier probably anticipates finding coin treasures to get his hunting dogs in. But yes, India. Here we have Tit in the north of the map. Also playing... Pardon me. Also playing as what? I don't know.
Also playing as Red, somehow.
Also playing as Age of
Civilization Red.
Yes, there we go. Good map for India, as Maito said, since, of course, all the small treasures really easy to pick up for these elephants, which it has 2 of, and, of course, can put down an agri-fort in the middle of the map, where it is sort of locked down a little bit by the water, sort of shortens the sides of the map, so to speak. But we'll see what he elects to do, because this is SmackDown patch. There are different politicians. Not for Tit. We haven't changed anything in the Asian dynasties yet. But
yeah.
India we have, pardon me, Germany we have changed, so perhaps we'll see something from him.
Yeah, I was gonna say part of the reason this is good for India too is just because of the like lack of trading posts is a little bit better for India than it is for Germany. However, Soldier could opt to age with that extra shipment, which could maybe mitigate that disadvantage a little bit, as a shipment for Germany is worth a lot more than a shipment for other civs, around 1,000 resources as opposed to 600 or 700 resources for other civs. So, yeah. Could definitely be an option to him. Hopefully, he's got that in the back of his mind there.
Yeah, I think this is a good... I think we've said this before. We've noticed in previous SmackDowns that actually the bishop, which now gives you a shipment, as you just mentioned, is actually a really good a really good politician to pick on a non-TP map. And yes, particularly good. Oh, wow, is this villager... he's going to reset it. Very clever. Doesn't want to have to even attempt to deal with the villager nearby. Just going to make that go to full HP again and not risk his opponent picking up 40 wood. But Agrifort now going down in the middle of the map with 4 villagers, the maximum. Looks like this is fairly aggressive then. We will have to see what happens. But yes, Germany is now aging as well. Let's take a look at his text being researched and see what he's chosen to go up with. The bishop, absolutely. Soldier making use of the SmackDown patch. Going to get the free shipment. And Germany do get free Ulans. Meaning they are much more as Maito pointed out. I wonder, though, if it's going to be tough, right? I mean, a really aggressive forward Agrifort going up with 4 villagers, and the bishop takes quite a long time to pay off for the reasons we've discussed before. Yes, it's good, but it is very slow, and against something, aggressive, I hope Soldier can handle it.
Well, actually, it is normally pretty slow, but Germany is, having more expensive shipments. Sometimes they don't even have a shipment. If they don't have a trading post, sometimes they don't even have a shipment upon reaching age 2. If you look at his XP, it looks like he will be pretty close to having one, but it might not quite be there. Same story for Tit. His shipments are also more expensive. And part of the reason for this is also just because neither player has really had treasure guardians to kill this game, so it might be pretty good for Soldier, as Tit, he's going to be a little bit late on his 5 Seapoy shipment, it looks like. He doesn't have one available. Soldier didn't have one available either, but does get one from the bishop, so that is going to be pretty nice for him for sure.
It's basically available, though. Look how close it is. But yes, it is going to let him send something, a few seconds sooner. But ultimately, is still going to have to... Perhaps, though, by the time it's ready, the first shipment will be basically there anyway. But maybe not as bad of a... when there's no, as you just pointed out, no treasure guardians on a map like this, Bishop seems even stronger. But yes, Seapoy now coming forward. Let's see if they can get any units. Looks like the hunts are quite nicely behind the town centre there. There are some villagers on the coin mine here. There is one settler that's a little bit vulnerable. The settler wagons that he shot at, of course, lots of HP, so not really going to have to worry about that. And Soldier is just going to send 3 settler wagons. Just, whatever. Doesn't need military units. However, oh no, okay, 6, so not going to be going with the 5 musketeers, and that makes the 3 settler wagon shipment. So when I said musketeers, I meant Seapoy, so this isn't super aggressive from Tit. It's just mid-map Agrifort And looks like Soldier is going to be absolutely fine to send settlers here. In fact, that's a really, really strong shipment.
Yeah, definitely going to be paying off for him, it looks like. There is now a caravanserai going down for Tit at home, so he will be adding in potentially some sowars or something to deal with the perhaps what he suspects is going to be a crossbow mass coming out of this barracks. Could be quite good timing for him. Might get spotted by these two Ulans that are raiding, though, so Soldier will probably know what's going on. No, not going to quite go close enough to the stable to spot it, but is going to force some villagers to garrison it anyway, deny some of these herds.
Yeah, there's a market there. No villagers nearby, but we'll see any hussars, pardon me, any units coming in. Looks like these are not going to get too much done, although they will try and enter the town centre. Just going to force more villagers inside, but the town centre fire going to be quite effective at deflecting them. Having said that, though, there is a consulate going up in the back, and this villager is walking away from the town centre. Looks like Soldier will manage to find... having said that, though, I think he managed to keep the Ulan in range of the TC all this time, and a couple of Zambaraks coming out just in time to deflect this. Can he get one final hit? Yes, and he's going to be able to finish up that villager. So nicely done from Soldier.
How did I flare? What? I don't know. That was a completely unintentional flare, sorry.
I wonder what was going on over there. I thought it's like, oh wow, trees in a coin mine, might say. What do you want me to say about them?
I honestly have no idea what I did, because I'm pretty sure I didn't click on it. I don't even think I clicked on the middle of the map there, so that was kind of weird. Oh well. Anyway, looking at the Soldier's base, he's gathered up 300 gold. I wonder if he... Yeah, 700 coin comes in, but he doesn't have, like, nearly enough food to consider aging just yet. Bit of an interesting decision. I wonder if maybe he'll train some Doppelsoldiers or something.
Yeah, he's got Dops in queue, actually. You're absolutely right. And that seems like a reasonable decision, given that he's mostly got crossbows. In fact, he obviously can't train musketeers, so these ranged infantry are going to need protecting somehow, and Doppelsodners are a unit that's quite good at protecting something from cavalry, as it turns out, and they don't cost wood like pikemen, so perhaps are a little bit more efficient to make. Having said that, though, what cavalry does his opponent have? Not all that many, but either way, Doppelsodner's quite effective against anything if they can get up close and personal. Here we have Sepoy coming in now. Looks like Soldier's still got villagers on the mine there. Does see it in time, and is going to pop them back inside. Soldier not training. He's just got the one Dop in queue. I think he's just keeping it there, and he's not going to fully train it. And as it gets close to being created, perhaps it's just there in case he needs to train 5 at a moment's notice. But really, his intention is to use the resources to get up to the next stage. But if he keeps a Doppelsodner at half created the entire time, or as close as he can, then
yeah, it's very clever, and it could actually be very important here. The units are right on top of the barracks. If he finishes that batch, he could get a really nice surround here. But no, looks like he's not going to need to do that. Is going to cancel it and going to queue up the age up. What is he going to age up with? Trying to look at text being researched. He is aging up with the exiled prince, so he'll be up rather shortly. Almost has a shipment available too.
Yeah, this has really helped out the curve a lot, isn't it? The extra shipment is just a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely helped him a whole lot this game. It's definitely seems like a pretty solid politician on non-TP maps, and for Germany in particular.
He's going to be okay. So he's basically up to the next stage now, but he's not got trading posts, and the shipment, the extra shipment is just one extra shipment. It's not like it's XP income or any kind of passive bonus over time. It's just a one-time thing. So I wonder how effective the Fortress Age will be. But at least he does get that first shipment. I imagine something like 8 skirmishers, which will come. Oh, due to Doppelsodners popping out there, although they weren't receiving any supporting fire from the crossbow, so are just going to go down pretty quickly. Either way, though,
they do somehow get a monk and a Zambrak off of that, so not the worst thing in the world, but definitely questionable.
Could have been more effective if the crossbows were nearby. There's a lot of Sowars there. Doesn't look like he wants to get too involved. Probably anticipating the shipments any second now, and will be something, could be Ulan, and that wouldn't be too good to get his units all caught up underneath the town centre. So not going to be committing. 5 Doppelsodners going to be coming out as his first Fortress Age shipment here. So pretty good Dop mass so far. Actually, maybe not. He lost the 2 Dops.
Yeah, well, either way, it should still be a reasonable deterrent to this big cavalry mass. There's not a whole lot of reinforcing sepoy behind this. And it will also give him a lot of siege, potentially, against this Agrifort if he chooses to push out of his base anytime soon. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I imagine he'll wait for his next shipment, which he's almost got ready before he really considers leaving the base.
Yeah, and it's gonna. I think you're right. I mean, like he's not going anywhere just yet. He's gathering on berries, which is slow. But once that next shipment comes out, perhaps he'll have or feel safe with the mass to push out and find some hunts and more efficient resources. There are 3 villagers stray over here. I wonder if some of them can escape. Managing to sort of pull one. Nice there. He's going to get away with it. Those 2 villagers going to be heading home safe and sound. Either way, though, Tit does manage to pick up 1, which is still better than nothing. A little bit of a standoff here. Soldier's made it to the Fortress Age. Let's see what his next shipment is, and then he'll have to push out and try and gain some map. It's on Soldier to make a fight happen here.
Yeah, it certainly is. He has that extra shipment on the way, so he's definitely going to be waiting for that to come in. But Tit might be looking to just push into the base soon. Going to be going into those Soars. Probably going to retreat when the Doms choose to walk in, but yeah, just a little bit of testing the waters there. The main thing here is just Tit wants to make Soldier feel a little bit uncomfortable, make sure he's not sending villagers out of his base to find new resources and stuff like that. You can see he's checking a top side with that cavalry, just wants to keep him locked up in his base as long as possible. But the 3 war wagon shipment has arrived, so Soldier will be feeling a little bit safer on the map with those ranged units against this cavalry mass. And looks like we are going to see a fight.
Yeah, it's like the Sours trying to get into position there. Looks like there are a number of others coming forward. Lots of Doppelsodners as well. That's a big deterrent. Those Sours not going to want to get anywhere near. The Ulan chasing forward, trying to make this fight happen. The Doppelsodners have found the cavalry, however, are just going to try and retreat backwards here. But the Doppelsodners are doing what they need to. The trees, finding a little bit of an issue for the crossbows and the skirmishes. It looks like the cavalry are just going to break away from those units. No, pulling them. Trying to get away. Nice use of the pull trick there. Trying to get the infantry to safety. However, still quite a number of units went down. Definitely a favourable trade for Soldier. He's going to be pleased with himself there. And whether or not the units are here, he's just going to siege this Agrifort. Looks like now coming back in. He's going to nicely use the ranged infantry to deflect or attack the red units whilst the siege troopers continue to deal damage and does take out the Agrifort. Soldier now on the map. Perhaps those villagers gathering berries can come out safely and start gathering food. There's no real hunt in the middle of the map though, which I think is where Soldier would like to gather since it would be near his army. All of the hunt seems to be down the bottom here, but perhaps he can send the villagers that way, and I feel like that would be a good place to wall off potentially, and maybe keep the army sort of in the middle, sort of around this location. That way, any units incoming you'll see, and the villagers will be safe. For now, though, perhaps it's just better to continue gathering. Oh dear, that's not very good.
Yeah, gonna be losing those for sure. I don't know if Soldier will mind too much. It looks like he might not even lose all of them. He might just lose the majority. No, they've stopped walking. He's gonna lose all of them. But
his army's coming. Perhaps he can say no. I think they're gonna go down.
Yeah. Either way, though, losing those units, not gonna be the end of the world. He does still have a pretty big tech advantage, and he's a little bit more comfortable on the map here. Might even get a good trade with these units off the back of that raid. So, ooh, Black Rider's coming in. Perfect timing too. Gonna be picking off these Soars left and right. And yeah, I think
so many going down as he's on.
I think at the end of the day, it's actually a good trade for Soldier. I think Tit lost a lot more units than it was worth it, maybe to kill those villagers, especially being down in tech. Those villagers would probably take a long time to gather the same amount of resources that he killed in units, so we'll see if that turns out to be a problem in the near future here.
Yeah, I think he was, hopefully, I think he was anticipating a way out that didn't involve going underneath his opponent's base, and the Black Riders just arrived at the perfect time to just, keep the damage up and keep the Sours under fire, and worked out really nicely for him. If we take a look, all things as the smoke clears here, Soldier is in the Fortress Age, has high tech, has a good, composition of units. Lots of different units here, going to be very effective in any kind of fights. And if we take a look at recalculated economic unit population, actually Tit is, considerably further ahead. So despite being down in age, he is, he's got the wall, the wall advantage, I mean villager advantage, but so we do see some walls going down, and this is exactly what he needs to do if he wants to make use of the villagers, right? Keep Soldier back for as long as possible whilst the villagers gather him out of the hole, I think is what I was trying to say, but we all know what I'm trying to communicate. Soldier, though, does have the superior army at the moment. Those Black Riders really bolstering this military unit population, and he's going to push forward, destroy these two houses. Meanwhile, though, Tit in the back will be going up to the Fortress Age.
That would be impressive if he went from the colonial age to the industrial age.
That was. You noticed my blunder, did you? But yes, Fortress Age. That would be impressive.
Yeah, so he's got a couple of minutes here to do damage. Sorry, Soldier does. And Tit will just have to be patient with this army. He doesn't want to fight until he's up. Ooh, look at these cheeky spies spying the army here.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of them around the map actually. One position there, just looking for villagers.
Where do you get them from? I imagine from the consulate for free or something.
Yeah, you get them for 300 export from the British consulate. Potentially could do quite a bit of damage to these Black Riders if he gets them in the right position during a fight or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the moment though, just going to be using them to get information on soldiers' army movements, perhaps the locations of villagers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And just sealing off this side of the map as well, just to make sure nothing comes through that way, so he knows, the only entrance for Soldier is sort of over here where I'm panning around. Looks like, though, Soldier is going to take the other side of the map, have a look around, see what he can find. He's going to pick up a couple of villages, another one goes down there. There's a market on the side here, but yes, the market goes down, which was supplying line of sight, but the spies are nearby. Where are my berries? Oh my god, yeah, that's, has he eaten them all? Why has he got no berries? There's some in base. He's got some. He does
have berries in base. Maybe he was expecting some berries to be on the top side of the map. It is actually a little bit weird that there's no berries up there.
Damn it, Guardia.
So it's a little bit of an unfortunate spawn for him, I guess. Does he have berries on the bottom side? There are berries on the bottom side. Yeah, it looks like he's just missing a patch of berries on the top side, so that's unlucky, but he does still have quite a bit left inside his base. So that's not going to be a super big problem for him just yet. He's also got a dock up, so I'm making use of these fish.
Yeah.
To compensate for the lack of hunts.
No fishing boats in queue yet, but I'm absolutely certain that's what he wants to do. Putting an extra town centre up on sort of this side of or next to the water as well. And there happens to be, quite a number of hunts just sort of nearby. So it seems like a good location for a town centre. It's guarding the berries here, and of course this coin mine as well. So seems good. Soldier, however, he's ran out of things to destroy on the sort of left-hand side of the map. He's gotten some villagers over here now. They're gathering. They're quite exposed, but I think Tit a bit preoccupied to be looking over there for villagers, but could be something that comes into play a bit later on. Currently, his entire army is close to the coast here, keeping this town centre safe and the villagers that are nearby as well. Yurumi popping, not on top of any units just yet, but is going to have a presence of Yurumi. They're going to against Germany if they can get into position. This wall here, though, going to keep Germany at bay for the time being. But the town centre a bit exposed, and Soldier doesn't care. He's just going to gather a gold right next to it. Jaegers have arrived as well. This looks like a big time for the Soldier to be pushing. 150 military unit population. Remember, a lot of that is the mercenaries that he sent. But this town centre, okay, we've got sentries and irregulars coming out.
Yeah.
And now the unit's going to come into queue. He's going to save the town centre.
He's got a frigate in Q2 at this dock, so he wants to delay the fall of this town center as much as possible because he wants to keep Soldier's army in this location. Urmi are now onto the units, and with that frigate probably almost done training, it could give him the firepower he needs to win this fight.
Yeah, there it is. Frigate coming out, and that's going to supply a lot of extra damage. I think that he was probably hoping to wait a little bit longer before starting the fight, but does get the frigate out. It is a little bit late to the start of the fight, but either way, it's going to supply a lot of damage. The broadside attack going to be very strong. Can he get it off? I'm not sure. He's trying to. I don't think it's quite in range, but at any rate, Soldier is not going to be able to finish that town center, and Tit going to keep control of this location. Frigate coming in strong there, and is going to be a big deterrent to that side of the map. That town center really safe, and the dock and the fishing boats will be very safe as well. So really nice, and Tit still in the game here and can keep continuing to make use of his stronger and larger villager population.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just the entire reason he created the dock in the first place, was just to make a warship to hold down control over these resources here. He doesn't seem to be training any fishing boats, so it could be the case. However, Soldier has now dropped down a dock of his own on the bottom side of the map, going to be using that to compensate for his soon-to-be lack of hunts. Unfortunately, I don't think he knows about these elk on the bottom as he's gathering berries right next to them.
That's fair enough, right? Looks like Tit's missing berries, and now Soldier is not gathering his hunt. Although, yes. So maybe it's even. Looks like, though, Tit got a bit of confidence now. He's moving out on the map with his units. He wants to try and take down that house. I suppose he does have these spies, so he can be a bit more confident about where his opponent's army is, and as a result of that, doesn't have to, he won't be surprised by the movements of it. Can try and take down houses, and we'll know if the units are coming. And that's why he's, I suppose, got that confidence, that spur in his stride, so to speak. Looks like, though, we've got a little bit of villager intermingling here. Not for long, though. Soldier sending a few ulans that way to dispatch these villagers. Nothing nearby to defend them, and they're just going to be walking into a corner. There's nowhere for them to be able to sort of get away.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to buy time for the units to come and defend them. One villager is going to go down. Potentially one more, and that's probably going to be all that he loses as the Mahouts are now onto the Ulans and the villagers.
Yeah, it's totally turned now. Now the
yeah, but there's a fishing boat there you could potentially escape into.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it looks like that's the case there. I think the spies, they saw the army coming, and then decided not to continue pushing there. But absolutely, they've gone into the fishing boat and can get away to safety. We have a bit of a fight on the edge of the map here. War wagons find themselves a bit far forward and are going to go down. It looks like Tit doesn't want to continue this. He's managed to save his villagers. He's pushed the war wagons away. That's what he wanted to achieve. He wants to stay away from the big German army for the time being. He wants to have his little villagers. He wants to sit back with his extra town centre. Having said that, though, he's still sort of pushing forwards a bit. Maybe it's because it's just skirmishes he's fighting at the moment. All the war wagons on the back. Really
yeah, it's a little bit of a risk, though. There's a lot of anti-cav here. Could potentially dispatch these Mahouts pretty quickly. And yeah, it looks like at the end of the day, they're just going to do a couple of quick trades and back out. Military population is still pretty even. Most of that, though, is invested into these Mahouts for Tit, and I don't know if there's enough of them really. There's a really
here we go. Can they get onto the skirmishes? Wow, big damage. Lots of pluses coming everywhere. The war wagons, though, they're not dragoons. They don't have that range resist. So these skirmishes and the Sepoy are going to be very effective against them. However, it looks like trying to get onto the skirmishes and doing a really good job, doing a lot of damage there. Mahout started to dwindle down though, but overall, I think this is quite a good trade.
Yeah, it's actually looking pretty even at the moment if you just look at the army population, but no anti-cav left for Germany pretty much. So if there's a reinforcing batch of Mahouts coming, there is one in queue. It could turn the tables. So soldiers got to be a little bit careful of this caravanserai nearby.
Yeah, looks like
Caravanserai? I don't know how to pronounce this.
The Indian stable, yes, this building right here. Yes, the one that makes camels. Second, oh no, looks like Tit looking to get in on the water action as well. That dock nearly finished, but the villagers before it can be finished there, and now Soldier are going to take it out by the looks of it. But this is shaping up to be a really, really interesting game. It seems very even at the moment, and now the resources are starting to dwindle away. It looks like Soldier has most of his villagers on wood, or certainly a lot of them. You can see down here 28 villagers on wood, starting to gather up a lot of wood. I anticipate he wants to make that switch to mills and plantations. which is something he's going to have to do at some point. Looks like he's going to get the Nootka settlement, Klamath settlement down, actually. Let's take a look at the texts that are available here. So we've got Klamath work ethos, which is essentially a mini economic theory. We've got the Huckleberry Feast, which is going to be quite good. It's approaching the 30-minute mark. Another sort of 5 minutes or so, and we're going to get the maximum number of crates that can deliver. It's going to be a really big bonus here. However, I should start talking about quite a few pikemen coming out. We're in a good place on top of the house there, but going to be up by all the Indian ranged infantry. Back, I suppose, to see from the front skirmishes. Looks like the war wagon's going to be trying to get onto the house. Not quite enough house to get too close down there, but still fairly.
Yeah, but with the elephant combat, those Mahouts have become very, very tanky. Still probably a slight skirmisher advantage for Soldier, although that's quickly dropping. And with all these villagers now exposed, there is a reinforcing batch of war wagons coming in, but he might not have enough units to hold this location. And if these villagers are forced to retreat, especially with the plantation there, that might be the end of the game.
I guess there's no reason. Yeah, wow. I felt like this was gonna keep going, but I guess he's not able to get the just the one plantation there.
Yeah, actually, did we miss something? Because I have the text completed still open, and there were petards for Tit at some point, and there's no town center for Soldier.
Oh wow, yeah, we did. Yeah, we missed that. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, oops.
Whoopsie. But looks like he's gonna lose this location here. And, that's where his town center, that's where his plantation is, and that's where... This was quite an interesting game.
Yeah, it was looking very good for Soldier for much of the early portion of that game, and then just the fight with the Ermi and the frigate managed to even up the military population a little bit for Tit, and then, he just had the economic advantage and slowly managed to push that into a win.
Yeah, you can see slowly just creeping further and further ahead of his opponent, and all game long is... several thousand resources up. Let's take a look at the military unit count. You can see the battle with the frigate here, I think. Or was that... Yeah, I think that's the frigate battle. And then at the end here, just losing that fight there. And as a result, the location as well with that plantation nearby. But that does make the score 2-1. And it looks like Tit back in the series. Remember, this is a best of 7, so quite a number of games still to go potentially. Soldier isn't going to sweep this one. The score is 2-1. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunday SmackDown. This will be game number 4 in a best of 7 series. The score is currently 2-1 to Soldier. Tit just picking up his first victory in the previous game. We are playing Quicksearch. We're not playing Quicksearch, but we're basically playing Quicksearch. We're simulating it. Tit will be playing Russia. Tit will be playing Russia. Soldier will be playing Germany again. That is allowed, since, of course, he has not won with them just yet. I've put the selections in chat, and now we will begin. I wonder if we'll get Cascade range again. Here we go. Starting game number 4 here. Will Tit be able to even it up and make the score 2-2? We will see. Or will Soldier pull ahead? The map will be Sioux, Manchuria. Spawning in the colour blue, playing as the Germans. We do have I Am Soldier on the top of the map there. Saving EP recorded game. In base, his first treasure nearby will be 40 food. Not overly helpful, but it is a 200 wood start, so perhaps he's just going to march off and make himself a trading post anyway, so it won't matter. We'll see what he has in mind, but yeah, Scout heading straight back where the trading posts will usually be found. Yeah, going to head straight towards that and going to pick up a yak to boot. Also 50 wood, that's going to be quite helpful since of course he does need to make a house as well, and that's going to cut what he needs to make it in half. Yeah, going to crack shot it, make the trading post, go back for the wood. He doesn't need it right yet. Definitely all the things in the right order, what we like to see. I Am Soldier on top of things here, but his opponent playing as the India, pardon me, in the previous game playing as the India. I just expect it to always be playing India, right? That's just the civilization
yeah, it's
he is.
his trademark civilization, definitely
Yeah.
India.
Yeah, you just like, you hear he's playing India. No, he's playing Russia this game.
I was actually expecting him to be India as well until I clicked on his side of the map and I was like, why does he have a normal European town center?
It's a funny looking Indian town centre. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
it's Russia. Yes, we understand. It's Russia. Will be interesting to see what he ages up with, since of course this is SmackDown patch. There's his first 3 villages popping out, and of course the politicians are different. So Russia in particular, I'm interested to see, just because there's a few different things they can do. The Philosopher Prince, I think, is quite good for them, since you have to choose between a 14 and 17 villager age up, and that ability to age up slightly sooner will make the Philosopher Prince quite good, but also I imagine the Bishop being quite good for Russia. Lots of things, we'll see. But picking up some yaks here, let's take a look at the yak game. Tit slightly ahead, has 2 yaks, his opponent only has 1. Tit might as well have 3, since there is 1 in the bottom here. Tit doesn't have Indian elephants, there's just the 1 explorer here. But out on the map, 150 coin, I don't think he'll be getting that, but we'll be finding 2 yaks very, very close by. That is going to give him the advantage in this age 1. Meanwhile, Soldier is picking up 90 wood, which is probably worth about 2 yaks. Perhaps it's even better. But yeah, at the moment, Tip has the cow advantage, which he will not be using to generate XP, because that's what they do for India and not Russia. But either way, Tit is he has a cow advantage.
Yeah, that's partially because Soldier has had to invest time into building this trading post. He's also managed to get a pretty good treasure in the form of 90 wood, actually 85 wood really close by as well. So Tit will be at least trading those treasures and stuff for yaks, so it's not the end of the world for him that he's not getting these wood treasures, but it's definitely very nice for Soldier. I don't think he'll be too unhappy about the lack of yaks, as these treasures do help your early game quite a bit.
I wonder if another option Russia could go with is perhaps the livestock pen, or no, not the livestock pen. He could certainly build a livestock pen, but there's a politician that gives you 4 cows and 3 settlers now. And since he's gotten so many of these livestock, it could be a different avenue for Russia to explore. We will see what he does, since he is now coming up to that food bonus, or the food you need to age up, approaching 800 very quickly. He's got a lot of cows, 7 cows here. As you mentioned, not quite as good treasures. Soldier picking up 2 wood treasures, which is really, really nice for him. But both players now aging up. Let's take a look. Tip is going to be going up with the, if I can click it, the Quartermaster. So just ordinary 400 wood, nothing different here. Going to play it safe, going to play it comfortable. This is what Russia is, what he knows he can do with Russia. He's done it before. Very solid strategy. We're not here to change things, but not choosing to... and also Germany will also be going up with the Quartermaster.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard start so far for both players. With that early trading post, that shipment, of course, is going to be not as useful for Germany as it is on a non-TP map, as it will take a few more minutes to pay off than it would if you didn't have a trading post, and getting that extra XP and having those shipments coming in back-to-back already in Colonial. So Quartermaster is probably the correct decision here, especially against an aggressive civilization like Russia.
Yeah, 3 forward villagers, so definitely intending to play it aggressively. Going to slam down that blockhouse ASAP. Has just gotten the 250 wood needed. This is the soonest it could have possibly have gone up. And I feel like that's very, very close to his opponent. In fact, I think that's as close as it can get. Maybe a little bit closer, but either way, going to be guarding this 150 coin treasure, and when his units pop out, he can indeed use his Explorer in combination with some units and pick up that coin treasure, which is going to be really helpful. However, Soldier, he has seen the barracks, or at least seen the villages. He will know that there are 3 forward villages. He will expect something aggressive, and Germany will be able to react accordingly. Yes.
Yeah, and his Explorer is also walking towards the second trading post, so I wonder if he could be going for an economic build. No, okay, just going to be scouting, it looks like. Not going to commit to that second TP just yet. Looks like he's got 3 settler wagons on the way, just judging on the population, so not going to be sending 700 wood or anything like that to get that TP.
No.
Meanwhile... looks like it's probably 5 Cossacks on the way, also judging by Tit's population. So yeah, just a totally standard sort of start for both players. Although, perhaps training DOPS is not so standard for Germany, particularly in this matchup, as that is what he has in queue at this barracks. Will probably be fast enough to deter these 5 Cossacks from raiding, but Not the best option against these musketeers, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see. Soldier, a bit edgy here, playing with Doppelsodners. We'll see how that works out. Maybe he thinks crossbows just isn't going to cut it, because 5 Ulan, pardon me, you know what I'm trying to say, Cossacks, very strong shipment. But there they are, they're popping out there, they're going to chase down the musketeers, not quite in position. Oh, had Tit been any closer to that Rax, that could have been quite troublesome for him. But actually, everything's fine. No shots have even been taken against the Doppelsodners, but I imagine those Cossacks will be now very, very wary. He did pick up that 150 coin, worth pointing out. He used his Explorer to do that in combination with the blockhouse, as we saw in the villagers fighting the Tigers. But good placement, I think, at that blockhouse. Able to pick up that coin. We'll see what he can do. He's got his 5 musks out. They're in hand combat for whatever reason, and 5 Cossacks as well. Doesn't look like he's too interested in poking around. I guess Dops are quite scary, especially when your opponent has Ulans, which can snare you, and then the Dops will get really close. So actually, Tit, he doesn't want to be too aggressive. He's not keeping his units far forward. He's actually going to come completely back here, and instead sending 700 wood, and is going to lay down the trading posts here. He's gotten both of them, and by the looks of it, this is the stagecoach as well. Is that the upgraded version? No, it's not. I don't think.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but
could get the upgrade and is investing in technologies.
yeah, sending all the units back to deal with these 2 Ulans, though, could potentially leave this blockhouse exposed. Especially with the 700 wood shipment down. He's not got a lot of military units at the moment. Soldier doesn't know that the musketeers aren't at base, but maybe with this 8 crossbow shipment, that's going to be go time for him. And the units are still pretty far away from the blockhouse, and Doppels and Ulans represent a lot of siege, so this could be a pretty scary timing for Tit if he's not careful.
Yeah, that's one thing about leaving the units away. I guess Soldier doesn't know the units are away. He could still be expecting them to be nearby, but either way, there's a lot of siege damage, as you mentioned. It's going to tear through this blockhouse. Yeah, almost a quarter of its health in one swing, and even more Doppelsodners streaming into the battle here. Looks like Tit's just going to ignore it. I don't think he wants to go near it. The second blockhouse, he's resigned that one as well, and is just going to let that go down. This is quite I don't really think that Tit expected a Doppelsodner mass. Fair enough, you don't usually see Germany doing that, but not going to be playing the semi-fast fortress, not going to be going up to that 3rd age. Soldier instead says, hey, I'm going to play a colonial agenda, and I think has taken Tit by surprise. Those 2 blockhouses going down, and now lots of Doppelsodners marching straight towards his base and having to rebuild in base that blockhouse. Soldier doing something a bit different, and this is really paying off for him.
Yeah, Wall going down to defend that new blockhouse that's coming up at home as well, but yeah, it is still quite scary. You're going to be going straight for the town center. There is still Minutemen and stuff available, so I don't know if he'll get this, but he's definitely going to be forcing some sort of reaction out of Tit. He doesn't quite have the resources for Minutemen. He does now. Looks like he's called them, and they will be popping out shortly. But that town center is below half HP. I wonder if Soldier will just sack this whole army to get that down.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to continue sieging, but he doesn't have to continue sieging for long. It's now down. We're not going to see any more reinforcing shipments. Well, we will. There's a blockhouse right next to it, so that's fine. But Doppelsodners finding themselves a good surround on top of these units here. The Minutemen going to go down quite quickly. The Cossacks in the back there, they just can't do anything. They want to help, but they can't get in there. The Doppelsodners just chasing them around and just going to slash them up. Looks like there are some crossbowmen in the base with a couple of full-on taking out these musketeers that have just arrived. The villagers a little bit worried. They're trying to get away. They're now Doppelsodners attacking them, and the Cossacks, they can't come back to defend the villagers. He's going to have to garrison them in the blockhouse. Strelitz arriving. That should be enough to force the Doppelsodners away, at least for the time being.
Yeah, kind of a disastrous outcome for Tit, though, and that's just a result of that 700 wood and investing it into, you know, the trading posts and everything. Like, Russia's not a very diverse civilization in terms of how many like options they have available to them, right? They don't really have the best fast fortress. They don't really have the best boom sort of thing. So usually they just end up sending military units and mixing 700 wood in there, and so you end up with that kind of like rock paper scissors situation where you kind of like try and figure out when they're sending that 700 wood, and then you try and push their base while they're sending that, because that will be when their military units are at the lowest. And I guess Soldier saw the trading posts going up and decided that was the time to push, and yeah, just ends up getting a really, really nice trade as a result, and yeah, Tit definitely on the back foot here.
Definitely on the back foot. Let's take a look at economic unit population only 20 for Russia, has no town center. Is gathering from the Yaks here, but they won't last for long. At least they're compensating him a little bit, or supplementing the lack of villages, so to speak, for the time being. Has 2 trading posts with the upgrade, so he's got resource income there. He's not totally out, but soldier definitely ahead in terms of villages. Military, though, fairly even, but it's worth pointing out that Russia has a lot of strelets, which is representing, that population, pushing it up, so to speak. Perhaps the dock is what will save him. Tit going to try and get on the water here. Perhaps he can get some fishing boats going and some presence on the ocean to bring him back into this game. I suppose that is... I suppose that's actually quite a good decision. Town centers cost 600 wood. The dock only 200, and it can create pseudo villages that are going to gather you food. So actually, I think a nice sort of in between that isn't going to commit him too long to gathering that wood, and does have the trading posts, so perhaps can get wood from those to fund the fishing ships and maybe the town center reconstruction at some point as well. Looks like these Cossacks are trying to find villages. They want to even up the game, but they're just finding it very difficult to get anywhere near villages. Doppelsodden is very, very scary for cavalry.
Yeah, it's definitely a precarious position for Russia. He's got to be very careful about what he does with those military units. He doesn't want to commit to a fight. He wants to just buy time, having decided to go for this water play. And yeah, it's gonna be a tough one with these shipments.
Pioneers as well. He's really going for it. A second dock coming down. Really
Schooners,
gonna go for the water. Oh, schooners. Yes, pardon me.
Yeah, so second dock going down. Yeah, that's gonna sort of expedite that boom a little bit, help him catch up in economy. And once he has a few more fishing boats out, the economy will be, relatively comparable with this stagecoach as well. Gonna be scaring some of these villagers away potentially. Actually, this is gonna be a good raid for him. But he might end up losing the Cossacks as a result. A little bit questionable whether it's worth it or not.
Hashtag debated. I think he maybe let him get in on the villagers there. Trap him in. And now look at these, pulling off these 3 Ulan there to go forward and try and snare. Will Soldier pull off some more to go around the other side of the trading post? Looks like these Cossacks... and one Doppelsodden. Look at that, right in position where it needs to be. Soldier showing us some really nice unit control here this game. Just, a few random dots here and there just to sort of catch these Cossacks, and baited him into killing those villagers, and manages to kill most of the cavalry as a result of it.
Yeah, I mean, loses all the Cossacks, but at least it's bought him some time. These 2 docks are rolling. He's got nearly 10 fishing boats on the field. And really, he just needs... That's all he needs to do. He just needs to buy time. He needs to, build up that economy as much as possible, and then convert that into some kind of military lead. Boyar's coming in now, going to be buffing up those strelets and the hopefully future Cossack mass.
Not too many at the moment.
Yeah. And one of the downsides, though, to going for water here instead of a town center is that he doesn't have the option to age up basically ever. So he's kind of stuck in the colonial age here. Of course, Soldier has no way of knowing that he doesn't have a town center, that he hasn't rebuilt that. And, just gonna be scouting with a fishing boat here, making sure that there's not gonna be any sort of water congestion. Probably a good decision.
Sounds like some sort of interjection. But yes, absolutely. Doesn't want to be surprised by a dock from Soldier and perhaps some random military boats on the water. He's not going to see them. But look, Soldier is marching forward now with his army.
Yeah, veteran Dobson, so not going for the usual sort of Skirm Ulan composition, instead going for the Dop Ulan, which could be a very explosive unit composition if they get into the melee in the right position, and they'll definitely tear through these buildings once the Dops manage to get in range to siege. Cossack's not going to be interested in engaging that army at all. Looks like he's just going to be trying to cut off reinforcements maybe, or looking for villagers. With those Cossacks, and yeah, not even gonna try to fight that army with his infantry either. Just gonna be sitting next to the coast as much as possible. Probably gonna use warships to stay alive in these fights, maybe.
Yeah, I think.
But he will be sacrificing. Yeah, he's gonna sacrifice his whole base though, as a result of that.
Yeah, this is the one good thing about going for this particular composition. It's got a lot more siege than Skirm War Wagon. You can just tear through these buildings, and it's going to be really, really strong. He's just going to...
Yeah, sorry, Soldier's got a lot of really cute dops sitting around his villagers too, so these Cossacks are gonna be rather ineffective at sieging here.
Very clever, yeah. Meanwhile, all these houses going down, and Tit well over popped right now. 108 units to out of 75, so he's gonna have to build an absolute ton of houses. All villagers on wood, well, lots of villagers on wood at this point to try and build them. But perhaps once if it looks like 3 more Cossacks gonna go down here. Soldier being very careful. Look at that, an outpost next to the coin mine that he's constructed, not taking any risks here. But yes, Caravel has now arrived, and if Tit can get more military buildings out and rebuild most of those houses on the coast, perhaps he will be okay. But it's still a lot of things to lose. It's still a lot of infrastructure that's disappearing, and I think Soldier just tearing through all these buildings is going to feel very good about himself at the moment.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long time for Tit to recover from the siege, and I don't know if the warships alone are going to be enough.
Can he even afford warships? I guess they don't cost any population, so that's also a good thing. But yeah, it's so difficult. There's a second Caravel.
And look at Soldier's
he can't even train frigates, can he? It's in the colonial age, so it's just going to be the Vels that are defending, which are not nearly as strong as the frigates. So
yeah, and just look at Soldier's resources too. He's actually going up to the industrial age. And if you take a look at his deck, he's totally prepared to continue fighting in Industrial Age 2. Town Center finally going up for Tit as well, so he will be advancing to the Fortress Age himself eventually. Not a lot of gold in the bank right now. He's going to have to get that pretty much primarily from Wales, which will take a little bit of time for that to pay off. And these trading posts will potentially go over to Soldier as well in the meantime, so yeah, definitely a very challenging situation for Tit. Down 120 points in score at the moment. At this point, there's probably virtually no hope for him, but you never know with warships. If Soldier manages to commit to fights on the coastline, he could potentially just take a lot of damage in these fights from those warships.
But is Soldier going to do that? Soldier's a smart guy. He's got this big lead at the moment. He probably knows it. He doesn't need to go and fight underneath. Maybe that town center that's half built will bait him into it, but now fully built, not going to be the case. Yeah, I don't think Soldier's going to fall for that one. He doesn't want to go near the coast. He's got the industrial age in queue, and then when he gets there, perhaps can crawl. Having said that, though, Soldier, are you going to go in there and take a fight? Oh, he's certainly going to kill the market and, keep Tit really on his toes. Keep him worried about the units here rather than doing what he wants. He's just standing nearby, being threatening, which is probably the correct thing to do. Doesn't look like he will be going in there after all. But Soldier now up to the industrial age. There it is. Going to be going up with, by the looks of it. Oh, where's the units? What did he age up with? I guess they're respawning it somewhere. Probably at
the Tycoon. So 1,000 wood coming, or 1,000 gold coming down at that forward outpost on that gold mine.
And by the looks of it, is now going to be able to train very heavy-duty artillery. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Howitzers, or mortars more specifically, could be very strong against the coastline here and the boats as well.
Yeah, no artillery foundry up just yet, but it is definitely an option available to him. He does also have 2 heavy cannons available. He's probably going to get those factories rolling soon. He's now got the trading posts that Tit has already graciously upgraded for him coming in. And yeah, the lead is looking pretty much insurmountable at this point. Heavy cannons now arrived, so that's going to be his signal to continue the pressure. Guard Doppelsoldners also on the way.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, that's going to be very strong. I think that will probably signal go time, right? Get those guard upgrades in, get guard Uhlans, guard Doppelsodners, 2 heavy cannons, and possibly another shipment on top of that, and then go in and just make that final killing blow. Be very safe about it. He's also getting these native trading posts in here. There's a couple of interesting technologies at the Shaolin Temple that affect ranged units' hand combat damage, but only a couple of crossbowmen, so perhaps not going to be overly useful. Heavy cannon setting up, volley coming down, lots of musketeers, colonial age Russian musketeers getting oh my, there we go. Okay, that is the safest possible way you could play the game. Trade Monopoly victory.
Yeah, I guess that's why he's building both the Shaolin temples, just to give him a little bit of extra control over over the trading posts and make it harder for Tit to deal with that trade monopoly. Just come kill me.
I think Tit realizes. just quit. That's a fair response, I think. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Like,
yeah, definitely gonna be dragging out to the bitter end. I guess Tit will be. He's down almost 200 score now.
Oh, the baiting here. No, this is the safest way to play it. Soldier doesn't want to have to deal with warships. He doesn't have to. He's in the industrial age. He can control all of this. He's got the whole map. You're getting called out, boy. You're baiting him in, Soldier. Soldier can't resist. Soldier can't resist. He's just gonna do it anyway, and perhaps it's fine. I don't. It doesn't really matter. Oprichniks, though, they are quite strong. There's a few sieging down this trading post in the back here. They've got high siege damage. There's this 2 random stables on the back there, so perhaps he will be able to deal with the trade monopoly victory. So I think Soldier, the best thing to do to protect the trade monopoly victory is actually probably to just go in and keep fighting in this one place. Tit has to focus on defending himself and to make it harder to destroy all the trading posts. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's Soldier decisively ahead. Guard unit upgrades. Not even the frigate able to take out the heavy cannon. There's so much HP. Just the musketeers, what are they going to do? If they go anywhere near those cannons, they're going to be destroyed by all these really powerful infantry.
Yeah, definitely.
Frigate looks like it's going to go down now. Take out one of the heavy cannons. So I think the others will be more than enough to deal with it. Looks like the Oprichniks are making their way around the map. He has to kill, I think, 2 more. So this one plus another one in order to stop the trade monopoly. I wonder if he's got any reinforcements coming to stop it. Looks like the Oprichniks, though, they will be able to kill another trading post in 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, like... in the meantime, though, all of the colonial musketeers have been cleaned up. So just the warships available for Tit.
Oh, yeah, and now looks like the Poland's going to go out there and stop it, but not going to be in time.
Yes.
The trash talk is strong. Look how far ahead Soldier is on score. But Trade Monopoly and Tit has resigned. They're not going to drag this out. But to his credit, Tit did actually manage to kill quite a number of units in his base with these warships there. But either way, it's a very, very strong position Soldier's in. And I don't think he can get back, even though he did manage to take down the Trade Monopoly. The score is now 3-1. We could be going in to the final game here. It is match point to Soldier. If he takes this game, he will indeed win the series and will claim $50 as his prize, of course, funded by our generous patrons. Thank you very much to all of the recent new patrons. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 5 in this best of 7 series between Soldier and Tit. We are playing Quicksearch. Soldier has whispered me his civilization. India will be his selection. Tit still thinking. We'll see what he comes up with. There are a number of civilizations he cannot play. In fact, all of the civilizations he has won with. Although he's only won one game. What was that with?
India.
Ah, yes. Of course it would be. It's Tit. It will be then India versus Dutch.
Good thing I got my match postponed an hour.
Are you ready?
Because you're casting SmackDown.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Okay, well...
It was supposed to start in an hour. Now it's going to start in 2 hours. So I might still have time to get quick power nap in, maybe, after the series.
Yeah. Thank you for getting up to play this, Maito.
I mean, like, I was so tired, and I went to bed at 8. I should have had a full night's sleep. I don't know what happened, but whatever.
Maito, definitely a hero today, making it happen. Only 2 hours sleep by the sounds of it. But this could be the final game, Maito. You might be able to get your power nap in, because this is game number 5.
Yeah, it is indeed match point. Soldier proving that he is quite the Quicksearch veteran in these games, coming out ahead in the unexpected situations.
Yeah, we should do a few more of these, perhaps with other players as well. I think this is quite
they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun. They're pretty fun, and it's a pretty simple format to get going to, and nothing too crazy. It's just a pretty solid format all around. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and producing some pretty interesting games here. Quite a long series so far from Soldier and Tit. But this is game number 5. Could potentially be match point. Here is Tit. Can he get back in the game? Can he climb back onto the leaderboard or the scoreboard? Currently 3-1. Playing as Dutch. This will be his civilization of choice here. Looks like he's managed to find himself 10 coin. Not overly brilliant treasure. 60 wood. They're a little bit better. 2 cougars, definitely a little bit tough to kill, but a crack shot will make that considerably easier. I see him getting into position now, going to grab himself that treasure there. But his opponent will be playing as, of course, India, scaring away the envoy there. 70 coin quite nearby. Soldier playing as the India in the color blue. Here we have on the top of the map there. Elephants have gone for the split up strategy. Normally you keep them sort of quite close together in case there is a treasure that you want to go and you need both of them. Instead here just going to be covering more ground. There are those sort of smaller ones on, is this Tassili? Tassili?
It is indeed Tassili, yeah.
Yeah, and that could be why he's done that. But certainly covering more ground this way.
Yeah, and there were definitely treasures that those monks could have taken on their own, but Envoy was there, unfortunately, to deter one of them, at least. But I imagine he'll go pick some of them up shortly.
Yeah. At the moment, just having a look around. There's not overly many good treasures here. Nearly mature coyote, not overly great here. 70 food. Okay, but not when it's guarded by 3 cougars. Down in the 660 wood. Gonna need his other elephant buddy for that to happen, though. And I think Tit has eyes on that elephant. He's gonna follow him there, and he will actually be able to contest the treasure if he continues on that trajectory. Soldier is gonna try and pick it up, though. Both the units are stunned. They're really hammering through their HP. Actually, it's quite easy to kill them there, and is gonna be able to pick that up, no problem at all. Does, however, get the weaker elephant into hand combat here, and could be a little bit troublesome since, of course, elephants really not very good against other explorers.
Yeah, they certainly
stop!
are.
Can he escape? Oh, what a pro! Oh, brilliant!
So I wonder what approach Soldier's going to take to this matchup, because Dutch is one of the few civs that actually can match India's economy in the mid-game, so sometimes going for a slower type of build can be a little bit challenging as the Indian player. He could go for something aggressive, but he might have a little bit of trouble placing an agri-fort on the middle of the map here if Tit is on top of scouting for that. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm definitely interested. There's no forward villagers yet, sitting on 700 food, so I guess, okay, 3 forward villagers are now going to place an agri-fort down somewhere.
Okay, they're definitely going to be an agri-fort. Going to try and find somewhere in the middle of map to do that. Now on 800 food, he's going to want to be placing it. Perhaps he should have sent them a bit sooner, but Soldier probably, on the whole, going to be okay. His opponent, though, the Dutch, going to be going up with the Quartermaster here. So not going to be selecting any of the brand new SmackDown politicians, and instead keeping it simple, 400 wood there. Is now currently gathering for his first bank, and will have the resources to do that momentarily, of course, costing 350 food and 350 wood. Has now got the resources to do that. We'll see that first bank go down. Going to play a little bit of SimCity here. Let's see where he places the bank. He'll place it on the back there. I thought perhaps he'd use it on the front next to the house and create some sort of pseudo wall, but ultimately just wants to get that bank down ASAP. 4 villagers going to be slamming that there. Is about to hit up to the next stage and needs that XP boost just to get that final bar full so that he can get that shipment. There it is, and now he's in the colonial age. Pretty much the bank went up and he got the XP at the same time, so that's pretty good. 400 wood there is going to gather it. But Tits up to the next stage considerably sooner than Soldier, who was, I think, compensating a little bit with 3 villagers there. A little bit of a delay to get that agri-fort down. In fact, even a 4th villager coming out here to help construct it. Just goes to show how much more quickly the Dutch can age up, and doing that here. 70 food. Oh dear, Tit. He's going to kill the cougars there. Looks like Soldier waiting right next to the treasure to pick that up.
Yeah, gonna be a nice pickup for him. And meanwhile, in Tit's space, he is dropping down a second bank, so he will be going for that slower style of build. With that 700 wood coming in, he'll likely be looking to drop a 3rd bank, just judging on how many vills he still has on food, and then drop a military building. So he won't have units out for a little while longer, and if Soldier chooses to do something aggressive, like perhaps a sepoy rush or something like that, could still be quite good. Actually, Gurkha in queue Ooh, I wonder if he could be going for some kind of like Gurkha Sowar timing or something like that.
Yeah.
It looks like he's sending 5 Sepoy, just judging on his population. So maybe just maybe Gurkha Sepoy to start here. We'll have to wait and see for sure.
You see that? What a steal! Oh, that's pretty funny.
Did Tit crack shot that?
Yeah, crack shot. It just elements were passing, and then I think Soldier just went, "Oh, all right then," and just gifted up.
Gifting him all of these treasures. But yeah, look, like it's almost 6 minutes into the game. That barracks is not yet up for Dutch.
Not going to be sending any military units at all, just going to get the economic units down. I kind of like the Gurkha. You know, the Dutch, they train skirmishers, right, in Age 2. And if you're making Sepoy, it's going to be a little bit awkward. Skirmishers to counter them, so why not make Gurkha here? Extra range, can shoot over these walls here, and they're not as vulnerable to skirmishers. Is he going to pick up a villager killed? By the looks of it, no. But he's going to force them all off the huts there on the front end of the town centre. Does have a skirmisher in queue at his barracks here, but at the moment, Soldier using those Gurkhas just to be really frustrating and really irritating. Just going to keep these villagers off hunt and gaining a little bit of an advantage there. Also going to pick up that Explorer by the looks of it, or at least get a volley on him there. We've got 4 skirmishers in queue. Will he get that 5th one? Once he gets them out, I think he'll be okay to keep gathering food. But a nice play from Soldier.
Yeah, for sure. Skirmishers are out now, though, and they do have slightly more range than the Gurkha, so with the help of this wall, they will probably force that away. Good split there, picking off the Sepoy as well. 6er wood in now as well, so he's gotten out his 3 big shipments. And we'll hopefully manage to stabilize off of that. Probably going to be dropping down a stable and stuff shortly, I would imagine.
I wonder if he'll go for a 5th bank at all. Looks like he's instead going to queue skirmishers. Yeah, he's not got the resources for the bank. But, oh, actually, he's got food. Could build another one off this wood. It's interesting to see what it'll go for. But for the time being, skirmishers now out, and Dutch is absolutely fine. India, however, also got a reasonable economy. He's sent foreign logging and, of course, has the distributivism as well. Has gotten some... He's getting his market upgrades in. So he's by no means falling behind. But Dutch, yes, there's the 5th bank. Dutch is going to pull ahead. Dutch is doing what he's good at here. And I think the long... Okay, so basically it's on Soldier. Soldier needs to do something.
Yeah, the economy definitely going to be very heavily in favor of Dutch as a result of that 5th bank going down. However, that does sacrifice his composition and his infrastructure a little bit. He's not going to have a stable up. Not really going to have any units to complement these skirmishers, so it's a pretty one-dimensional composition. And, yeah, we'll have to see if he manages to defend this push. They are going to be looping around the side here to get onto that other hunt. Deny Tit a little bit of extra gathering once again. Make it more difficult to get the food to maybe consider an age up or something like that. But no, going to be pretty easily deterred by the skirmishers there.
Yeah. Just skirmishers on skirmishers. Skirmishing, I suppose. We'll see what Soldier does in response. Cavalry is something he certainly wants to be considering. He's got a Caravanesi going up as we speak to train Sowars, I would imagine. They do quite well against the skirmishers. And in anticipation of cavalry, we see Tit already going for that preemptive 8 pike shipment. It probably feels like the right time to get pikes out, and now that the anti-cavalry has arrived, it looks like Tit's got a bit of a confidence boost and a bit of a spur in his stride, moving forwards with his skirmishes. Doesn't feel so vulnerable now that he can protect them with something. Looks like Soldier doesn't want to keep those villagers on the mine. He's going to send them away to be protected. Tit not going to find any villagers today, and is now on the way back. But Soldier, he knows the units aren't home, so can send Gurkha of his own in to defend here. Trying to look for some villagers in the back there. Looks like Tit is on top of this. He's going to send them home. Isn't going to find any today. And now is going to try and get out of here. Doesn't want to get caught in his opponent's base. Look, these pikemen coming into position. Perhaps they can snare the Gurkha. On their own, they won't be overly effective. But look, there's a big red skirmisher mass here. Maybe Soldier's a little bit out of position. This could be troublesome for him. Not very many Gurkha, significantly more skirmishers, and now sort of stuck behind his opponent's base. The pikemen now trying to come around the side here and deflect any sort of escape, so to speak. They're trying to rendezvous with the other Gurkha and the 2 elephants here.
But
3 hussars coming in, 5
Sowars coming in,
3 Sowars as well. Could be fine.
Yeah, the pikemen a little bit out of position, gonna get picked off very quickly, and the tables have turned. There's no anti-cav out here for for Tit. He's still got access to Minutemen, though, and they will help deter these cavalry a little bit. And 3 Hussars coming at an opportune time as well, going to be getting onto the Gurkha. And I think Tit will be just fine holding this, actually.
Looks like he's okay. He managed to find a way out of that and joined up with the rest of his army there. Looks like these 2 Hussars will go down, and now these Gurkha will be absolutely fine. Will be able to get out of here. No one Hussar they're going to have to deal with. I imagine they're going to try and snipe that off and then escape here, because Dutch does have quite a lot of skirmishes. Of course, Minutemen mixed with the Sours. I think they rallied in there by mistake. Final Hussar goes down and is now going to be able to escape there away from the skirmishes. Deleting the wall. He just wants to get out. He wants to pursue. He wants to take the fight to Soldier as fast as he can. Delete the wall. Get out of the way. Go, go, go. Here come the skirmishes. Although no anti-cavalry here. And still in the colonial age. So the only anti-cav option is going to be pikemen, which he doesn't have any wood. So perhaps Hussars, I guess you can use them as anti-cavalry. They certainly can block and will be effective at stopping Sours getting on top of the skirmishes here. But this far away from base can be a little bit risky. And look at all those Sours, definitely is risky. Tit, though, he knows his boundaries, perhaps. He did just kill all of those blue units, so thinks perhaps I can push out a little bit and keep Soldier on the run, but he's not going to overstay his welcome and not going to go too far. Now returning to base, he knows that it is a little bit dangerous, and he can just stay in his base, right? He's got 5 banks, and he's got lots of economy potential. This is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and 700 food coming in now is going to make that age up pretty easy to queue up as well. So yeah, definitely sitting in a nice situation. That's a really big cavalry mass, though, from Soldier, from basically out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this envoy might spot it. No, okay. Gotta keep the cavalry mass hidden. Move the Gurkha forward, pick off that envoy. And while Tit chooses to age up here, he could have a really strong timing if he goes in at the right moment, which is pretty much now. The window will be closing pretty soon, but it definitely could be scary.
Yeah, definitely could be. There's a lot of Sours there, and there's not really anything to protect them. The skirmishers, though, they have, even if they were pushed, got all these banks and houses and all these buildings. They can sort of hide in the nooks and crannies, and any cavalry trying to get on top of them will find it hard to get in between all of those buildings and get on top of them and get a nice surround. So I think the skirmishers, although vulnerable, will be okay. And he is now up to the fortress age as well, and he can start training Reuters. He does almost have a shipment available, so I imagine we'll ship Reuters. Can't quite do that just yet, but he will have a hard time getting anti-cavalry out. You know, just the one stable there, unless he pops down another one. He's approaching 200 wood quite quickly. I imagine it's on his mind. Tiger claws,
however,
okay.
The walls are up now. The building placement too is also pretty difficult for Cav to path through, and this is like Soldiers on a like thin timer here. As you said, there are Reuters that Dutch now has access to. Only going to be trading them from the stable. He doesn't have a shipment available for that 9 Reuter card just yet. It looks like they will bypass the wall relatively easily.
Yeah, it looks like
Tiger Claw is going to be getting in. This is a tricky situation for both players, to be honest. The cavalry not getting in the best of positions, but
no military shipments or Minutemen going to be arriving for Tit here either. Skirmishers trying to stay hidden in the nooks and crannies. There aren't actually that many blue Sours able to find them, and I don't know, this is quite a messy fight, really. Lots going on here.
yeah, it's looking like the building placement is really paying off for Tit. Those Soar unfortunately had to fight the Hussars a lot of the time, especially on the southern side of that town center. And as a result, there's not a whole lot left. He does have 5 Reuters in queue. 9 Reuter shipment is on the way as well, so there it is. And that's gonna be the end of this fight, probably. Perhaps not the end of the game yet, though.
No, I think that was still a good push from Soldier, but Dutch is now up to Fortress Age, has got 5 banks. I think Dutch is in a good spot and has like his villagers now getting back to work. But held on just long enough, and Reuters shipment comes in, saves the day here. Looks like Tit actually quite far ahead in terms of military unit population, and is going to be feeling pretty good. He can now push out on the map. He can claim hunts such as this one down here, some random Gurkha there. Quickly going to make short work of that. Get out on the map, can get the hunts, can feel good, can play the game, doesn't feel boxed up, not claustrophobic anymore, can leave his base. But what can Soldier do? I think remassing against that is going to be difficult at best.
Yeah, it looks like he's now chosen to age up. Gonna be dropping a second barracks as well at this forward base. And really, I guess he's behind by quite a bit of score at the moment. Tit's got a massive military lead. His only advantage maybe would be if he managed to get up to Fortress and managed to get a good like Urumi pop or something like that, could potentially get him back into this game. Brax is going to get denied, sadly. Some more vet Hussars out for Tit as well from that 4 Hussar shipment. Going to make these Gurkha a little bit vulnerable. They're going to be pursuing, it looks like, into the where he knows there's some dead hunts, definitely some villagers. Going to find the Gurkha. There could be sentries available to deter them, but still going to be forced off of resources, which is not good for him.
Yeah, not good. Might get sentries coming out from the town centre to defend. Looks like this other barracks he tried to get up being denied as well. No military units. He elected to go up to the next stage. Maybe that is the right play, simply because you need to do something like that to get back into the game. But certainly not helpful, because he's not able to train units. It's just, this, I think, is going to be the end of the game. So many red units streaming into the base there. The villagers going to have to run as well. It's going to delay the age. It's stagnating that progress there. Urumi is an option, but there's a lot of red units here. It's pretty good to be behind it. Tit is good enough of a player to know not to stay too long underneath a base like that. In the meantime, can just finish off his barracks. There's lots of weak houses, of course, and we have slightly weaker houses, can be killing them as well. And I think even if Urumi did pop, are they going to be strong enough on their own? He's just finished off the blue units. Yeah, he has. It's
Perhaps not. And there's some more Hussars coming across the map too, which would be exactly the type of unit he needs to deal with something like Urumi. Very tanky and doesn't really get countered by them. And yeah, it's definitely a difficult situation for Soldier. That timing push earlier just did not work out the way he wanted to. Now there are Hussars onto the Vills. Yeah, gonna be moving the army over in that direction. Really ensure that he cleans all those up. And yeah, that's probably gonna be the end of the game. So the series will not be over just yet. There is an Urmi shipment out though, and there is going to be a small counter push on the western side of the map. It looks like if he finds villagers. Perhaps he'll stay in the game a little while longer, but still going to be challenging.
Especially with these villager kills up here as well. Tit playing it very safe. He was doing some damage in base and then sort of left about the right time when Urumi would be popping. And of course, they saw the villagers that they're quite juicy, wants to chase after them. Bit of a counter push, as you mentioned, down the south here, but at least now Tit knows what he's dealing with. He can see it. Gurkha's now entering the base. Actually not, they don't want to do that on their own. Look, he's got a big Hussar mass, Reuters as well. The Cav splitting off to get ahead there and perhaps get over to that location. Lots of
and now that the villagers are onto this hunt, this is probably going to be the game-deciding fight. These villagers don't really have far to run from these cavalry, and there's no anti-cav. Okay, now there's red cones out. Probably not enough to deal with this. And yeah, the massive units is just significantly in favor of Tit right now. And yeah, I think, yes, there's the GG. So Tit's going to be bringing the series a little bit closer. 3-2 for Soldier at the moment.
He's back in it. He's pulling it back. The score is 3-2. Tit gonna go away with at least a couple of points on the board here, and potentially could bring it up back to 3-3. That is, you know, still match point for Soldier, and doesn't win this game. But remember, you know, what are Soldier's strong civilizations? What has he won with? What were the 3 civs he won with? Because he can't use them anymore. And getting that final victory on the table could prove troublesome if he hasn't got the civilizations up his sleeve that he's comfortable with and that he's very strong with.
So the first game was France versus Spain. Soldier managed to win that game as France. Sioux versus Brit on Adirondacks. That's right.
Oh, that's right. That was the second game.
The third game was Germans versus India on Cascade, and Tit managed to win that one. And then we had Germans versus Russia on Manchuria, which took away Soldier's Germans finally. So he could not play France, Sioux, or Germany. Yeah, he does still have some civs he's pretty comfortable with. Brits, for example, is a civ he's quite proficient at, and definitely pretty strong with that new Philosopher Prince politician.
Yeah, it looks like, though, it will be Tit that selects British, and Soldier will select India again.
Perhaps Soldier reading the potential for British. Tit Tit is known to be sort of a player who, once his India is gone, he's kind of got his Dutch and his British, and those are his go-tos. And then after that, it's a little bit less clear. But maybe he was suspecting that since India and Dutch were off the table, Brit was kind of the next pick.
Yeah,
and India definitely a really good pick against British.
For sure. I think that's really clever, though. Soldier, he knows, all right, Tit's won with India, he's won with Dutch, I just lost to his Dutch, but he now can't play those anymore, which sort of reduces the options. And if you know your opponent, like you've been saying just now, then it really narrows the option. And Soldier going to go with India again. And I think Tit's responding to that. Soldier going full India. Perhaps that's a little bit of trash talk from Tit coming out. But we have Tit, speaking of him, on the south of the map. Perhaps we could say Tit was being a bit of a tit. Ha! No? Alright then.
It's a good attempt.
This will be... What is it? Oh god. What is it?
It's blah blah blah. Great Basin. I wanted to say Grand Chaco, but it definitely isn't Grand Chaco.
No, not Grand Chaco. Great Basin. Playing as the British here. Going to be gathering a little bit of extra wood with those villagers for that second manor house. Will he find any wood treasures? What he's come across so far, Medicine Man, not overly helpful.
Oh.
There is a 95 wood treasure. Did he scout it though? No, he's not seen it. It's just below that trading post there. Perhaps he'll circle back for it at some point, but Soldier is in the area scouting in this direction. Certainly something he could come across. Is first gonna see this Medicine Man though, but we haven't introduced Soldier. Here he is playing as India in the north of the map there. Gonna go for the elephants being split up strategy, cover more ground, so to speak. Has come across 30 coin, not electing to go for that just yet. There's another, what's this guy, a surgeon. There's a Medicine Man and a surgeon on this map, so perhaps we'll see some healing later on, although they are quite heavily guarded treasures. I wonder if it'll ever really be worth going out of your way to pick one of them up. Probably not until much, much later in the game, we will see. But treasures so far, looks like Soldier, because of those couple of elephants, is able to get out on the map and find all these small ones. Definitely a good thing to do with India, picking up 30 coin now. Tit, he's only really found 20 coin in his base and 40 XP, so British not really getting much done. I think it's a shame that these big medicine treasures have spawned. British not able to make use of his crack shot very well here. Oh, nearly mature cougar, it's not even a good treasure. The only good one is the wood treasure, and he's just narrowly missed it. I think now, looks like this elephant Soldier is going to come across that there. Thankfully for Tit though, will not be able to pick that up until he has both elephants in position, but a little bit frustrating, I think. Tit not really finding anything in this early portion of the game, but Maito, we're getting close to the resources needed to age up, and let's see what Soldier goes up with, what Tit goes up with, the British player here. There's a few different options, and the Philosopher's Prince is in queue, 700 food used to age up.
I was just thinking earlier when he was chopping the wood for that second manor, it's not something you usually want to do as British in a matchup where your opponent could be pretty aggressive, because it potentially slows down your age up. So normally you want to go for something like you just want to basically gather food and sit on that one manor and sit on the extra wood.
Yeah.
But I guess if your age up's a little bit cheaper, you can afford to go for that second manor, sort of free of charge, and get a little bit of extra value out of that. So definitely a good adaptation there from him, and it's definitely going to help him quite a bit here.
Yeah, basically snuck in an extra mana and will still be getting up on time. So has that extra villager working for him, going to be pretty pleased with that. Tit though, he's aging now. Soldier, what's he going with? Agrafor in the middle of the map there, one villager just going down now. So actually British going to be up much sooner than India.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of going to make it difficult for a Soldier to really get away with any aggressive sort of agendas. Actually, Tits up actually even earlier than you'd normally be with British. Normally you'd age around like 4:15, 4:20-ish with British, but he's actually up at around 4 minutes, 5 seconds, something like that.
Wow.
So this is this is definitely a very, very quick age up from him.
Yeah.
And definitely going to allow him to set up his defenses and stuff like that a little bit more easily. Actually dropping a stable. That's a bit interesting.
Yeah.
Not going to be the best against a Sepoy pressure, but
Perhaps he's anticipating Soldier to start Gurkha. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an option. It will also give him a little bit of counter pressure, though. If he does get Sepoy rushed, he'll be able to just raid the base, idle some villagers, perhaps prevent the follow-up on that Sepoy rush. Normally, the 12 Sepoy rush, you follow up with, or you can follow up at least with an extra batch of Sepoy, maybe a 4 Soar shipment, or something like that. And if you're just being raided and have Hussars into your town center, you're probably not going to be getting out a lot of extra units. So it's something he has going for him as well with this stable start, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. Soldier is aware of it, though. He took the elephants, he took the time out of his day to go through Tit's base and see what there was there. He noticed the 700 wood shipment, and I think he saw the stable as well. So he's going to know that it will be cavalry to start with, and I think we'll have enough time to train the relevant unit to counter, yes, Sepoy and Q there. He's not going to be training Gurkha. He's not going to be taken by surprise here. Looks like the elephants are going to get some damage here. The topless Sepoy going into hand combat, and I think this could... Oh, the stomp coming in strong, trying to pull the Hussar back, but still, yeah, takes out that Sepoy there and is now going to try and escape. Lots of damage there. Does take out one Sepoy, but ultimately, a bit of a skirmish in the middle of the map, and now Tit will be on his way.
Yeah, actually, probably a decent trade for him. Lost quite a bit of HP on those Hussars, but at the end of the day, he is going to be able to idle the villagers. And still be, you know, a big nuisance here in the base. Also going to see the 600 wood shipment, so he knows that there's probably no units heading towards the space, but ooh, getting caught there in the middle by those melee Sepoy, so...
Yeah, that's not so good. Losing a lot of resources for free here. I don't think Tit's going to be overly pleased with that. Yeah, there's the XD coming in strong, and is now possibly going to get finished off by the Agra fort there. Not overly strong for a big old fort. I guess it is a Discovery Age building, though. But ultimately, that is what's happened there. Tried to get some villager kills and loses a few Hussars. Not too good, but not the end of the world. Let's take a look at the recalculated economic unit population. So fairly even here, but we do see the 600 wood shipment just arriving, and now mana's going down. This is where Tit can start to climb ahead in terms of villagers and get ahead, as you would expect British to do so. Looks like, though... Oh, that backherd coming in. Do you see that? He backherded in the correct direction.
That's a bit lucky. I guess that hunt actually started over here.
Yeah.
So it's gotten pretty far away from its starting location. So it was... Yeah, he probably knew it was getting pretty close to backherding anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think he intentionally backherded it, but works out for him anyway.
Still being diligent with his one Hussar, though, manages to get a few swings on a villager here, but ultimately being pushed away by Sepoy in the town centre fire. But either way, Tit using that Hussar effectively, and by the looks of it, two more Hussars on the other side of that. One very low HP, that one we saw escape. Well, actually, both of those ones. They're coming around the corner here. No line of sight. The market is going to give line of sight, but not that far. If Tits carefully can sort of make his way around the corner and get some more range. There's one Hussar coming back in. Can he find a low HP villager? Not near the Hussar, but ultimately does have units there. Looks like I'm not sure what he's upset with something. Who knows what it is, though. Alt-click. Attack move. Something like that. But
I think he was maybe just a bit confused by why his Hussar was sort of juggling back and forth
a
little bit.
That. It was yeah, ultimately though it's still alive, so everything's fine. But yeah, maybe he did press the attack move button. Tit though, the British player, going for 700 coin. And has now got a back barracks up as well, so can be training the musketeer unit.
Yeah, I wonder if he might try and go for some sort of age up here. It would be a little bit risky, but he has diverted a lot of attention away from his base. Soldier had to invest a lot of time into defending there. However, there is 6 redcoats out on the map now with a decent mass of Sepoy, another reinforcing batch coming out. So this is actually a pretty big mass. And if Tit is saving for an age up, which it looks like he might be, he does have units in queue anyway, but it could still be a pretty scary timing.
Yeah, that's a lot of Sepoy there, and when you've only got he's going for medicine from the top here, so that's going to be helpful. But he's really far away from home. Being able to defend this could be difficult. No military units in queue. Well, he's got a Musk and a Huss in queue, which I suppose he can combine with Minutemen by the time these units arrive home. But given that he's not got the age up in queue, this is a really effective push coming from the Soldier.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to hold. TC's at almost half HP now. Yeah, there's Minutemen potential for sure.
There it is.
Reinforcing batch of Musketeers, he might be able to hold this. But those Sepoy and Redcoats are definitely a lot stronger than these Musketeers at this point in the game.
Yeah, also, though, don't forget there's 10. All 5 hussars popping out. 10 villages in the town centre as well. He's got a lot of HP hitting the board. And remember, Minutemen doing quite well. They're not being attacked either. It looks like some more Sepoy are going to join the fight. Hussars definitely a lot of HP, but against the hand combat Sepoy could be an issue. Looks like, though, India will be deflected here.
Yeah, looks like Tit does manage to defend that. But at the end of the day, his age up did get cancelled. And he doesn't have a lot of hunts left in his base either, so he's probably not going to be able to re-queue that age up anytime soon, maybe never. And he's kind of stuck in the colonial age against India, which is definitely not an ideal situation.
Yeah, he's sending colonial militia card as well.
Yeah. Also had quite a bit of idle time and stuff there, so even though Tit got a really good trade with those units, it's still very, very rough for him. 6 Musketeers coming out now, going to be bolstering that Musketeer mass a little bit. He probably knows that he has to be active with his military units now. Hussars are going to raid up top as well.
Yeah.
Does he have 600 gold in his deck? No, he does have 700 food, though. So he does still have a card that could potentially get him aged up if he has the time to gather enough resources and bother to send it. But for the moment, he's definitely trapped in H2. And with the potential for Gurkha and stuff like that to be mixed into this composition, and with how well Sepoy perform against Longbow and stuff like that, it's definitely looking tough for Brit.
Yeah, it could be a little bit awkward. He was trying to find that moment to get up to the next age, to even things out, to have access to the veterancy techs, and just, that's where British wants to be ultimately at some point, versus India at least. Didn't manage to get it in queue. As Maito said, 700 food could allow it, but maybe it's just too late to be doing anything like that. He could play defensively, though. He sent the colonial militia card. He does have a really beefy town centre, has access to those extra Minutemen, so maybe if he plays defensively and could send that 700 food and get up, maybe that, it's certainly on the cards. Also, though, has Musketeer upgrades in his deck. Also going to be tempting to send, since that is his primary unit here at the moment. Let's take a look at what Tit's up to, deflecting raids from Hussars at the moment here. Let's go click on a villager and see what upgrades he's got. Similar, I think, to what Tit has here. He's missing steel traps in. I think that's something he's working on now. Going to be getting the wood up for that, but ultimately fairly even. And players also got fairly even economic unit populations here. So pretty even game, except India, being India, is in the colonial age, having access to all of the different unit types that he's going to need. So I think India has a slight edge in that regard.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at Tit's villager distribution, he's actually switched almost all of his villas to gold. Unfortunately, the gold mine does run out in his base. But I think he does have center food on the way, and he is going to try to re-queue that age up. However, his town center, still sitting on 1700 HP, hasn't been repaired yet, so he's got to be careful for sure about another timing push coming in here, maybe.
Yeah, that Bill getting away just in time. 1 HP. But yes, I think aging up is definitely something on his mind. There's the 700 food. He's now stacking all of the resources. There's no food in base, so he's able to gather coin. Seems rather convenient. And yes, I think we'll be going up to the fortress age. Does leave him a bit open and vulnerable, though, since Soldier, if he chooses to push in now, this would be a very good moment to do that. Sawaz does finish off that 1 HP villager, though they're going to be, these villagers here, alerted to the fact that Sawaz are in the area, actually just electing to stay here. He's not going to retreat. I guess the Musketeers are on their way to get involved. Maybe he wants to keep the units over here on top of the villagers rather than retreating to the town centre, which has, really low HP. It is being repaired now and the age up is in queue, but perhaps is a bit vulnerable. Villagers, ultimately, most of them, I think actually not very many of them going down at all. Sawar's not overly high hand attack. The villagers safe and sound, but not able to gather from these hunts and the coin mine. Is going to be pushed off those back to into his base, and it's really barren here. There's no resources except wood. I guess there's this coin mine, that's where he's heading next, but has been pushed off the natural resources and doesn't really have any food income.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be tough. He doesn't have the resources for that second batch of Minutemen either. If he really needs to use it to hold some kind of push, but it looks like Soldier is being a little bit hesitant to really commit to a push or anything like that. He doesn't know exactly what Tit's doing. He doesn't know that he's aging. They're just gonna be playing it safe until he can really confirm what exactly is going on. Although his sepoy are walking dangerously close to some of these villagers over here.
Yeah, that's not good. Looks like Soldier realizes this. Tit realizes this and is going to try and sneak the villagers into the bottom of the map there. Or actually, just going to be right-clicking on the trees. But
this could be dangerous.
Yeah, they're so... And the army's totally on the other side of the map here. Musketeers just so far away to be able to do anything about it. I think these villages are going to see a quick end sepoy execution happening here. Lots of villagers going down. Only 4 going to escape. Or more sepoy coming in to finish them off. Looks like they...
Yeah, he did escape some up top too, but for how long?
Yeah, they'll be found eventually.
However, they are gonna steer a lot of the... Okay, no, his Soldier's not gonna chase them down. Knows that his bigger priority here is dealing damage before that veteran upgrade goes in, before falconets and stuff like that start arriving. But again, still no resources for Colonial Militia in here, and the gold is gonna get denied for that from these Soar. It looks like there are musketeers coming in. Tit knows that he can't afford to take those villagers off that gold mine. He really needs the resources for CM. I don't know if he has a shipment on the way either, but with all of his units over here, it could be scary if those units surround the town center and he has something like falconets on the way.
Yeah. Tit does, though, have the resources for a big Minutemen pop, and I think combined with the Musketeers, that's what he's going to do. Does have veterancy in for the Musketeers, but the Sepoy just surrounding them. He's going to take that out, calling the militia here. Maybe he can get a shipment in just in time. It doesn't happen to be the case, and I think here Sepoy combined with the Gurkha and, of course, the Tiger Claws as well will be enough. The Red Musketeers finding it difficult to get that concave. Looks like now the blue units finishing up the town center are now going to try and get the position on top or to deal damage to the red units. So many sepoy. Just going to clean up here. I think that is going to be the end of the game for Tits. Soldier.
Yeah, Soldier proving to be the more experienced Quicksearch player.
Let's do another one of these. This was really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we got to see a lot of matchups that we maybe wouldn't see, in a lot of situations where we normally wouldn't see them, and yeah, just well played by Soldier over the course of the whole series.
4-2, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching Sunday SmackDown. Soldier earns himself $50. And indeed, should be pleased with himself. A nice series, 4-2 versus Tit. Tune in next week for... We've done 2 sort of ordinary supremacy in a row. And now it is time to go back to the wacky formats and do something very interesting and different. The next format will indeed be... I think most people know it by now, especially if you've joined my Discord. There'll be a link in the description to that, where you can vote on the different SmackDowns. And what the community has voted for will be double shipments. The next SmackDown format will be when you send a shipment, you get it twice. So 700 wood will be 1400 wood. 4 Mamelukes will be 8 Mamelukes. 2 heavy cannons will be 4 heavy cannons. 16 colonial militia when you revolt will be 32 colonial militia. Should be a lot of fun, and we will invite players to play that for $50, so do tune in next week. If you're interested in playing that particular patch where shipments send twice, you can download SmackDown patch now. Eagle Mutt will put it live as soon as he can, and can we get some love for Eagle Mutt in the chat? Some love hearts, please. He does all the hard work putting in these weird SmackDown changes and doing all of the formats. So there is that. Once again, thank you for the generous patrons. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do SmackDown. Also, patrons will be able to see the balance changes that we have intended coming up. There's a list of top secret balance changes, so if that's something that interests you, something to think about. But my name has been Interjection, casting alongside my toe.
Hi. Or bye, I guess.